dropping into that 174.60. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. For now, though, we have Sean and Neil at the desk. We got Sharif at the green screen. See you soon.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready. Look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Adira and I on the How to Trade Midday Show and get into that chat, but it's a subscriber chat only. So you got to subscribe and then vote for your favorite tickers every day. And the big kahunas will have a look at it for you. Coming down off the highs right now on both the indexes. We'll look at the NQ first. About 1% in the green right now, or last time I checked for the NQ, 1% for the ES. Looks like it's coming off that now. The Dow performing the best, up 1 1/5, and the Russ, the worst of the four, up 0.5%, but still in Greensville after the market last week had its worst week on the year, excuse me. So we'll see if we're able to get back some of that. Yeah, as you can see, the major indexes rebounding from last week's session, guys. The first one we're going to talk about today is the SPY. What's the look?
Apple's ruining Apple ruining everything.
It feels like, yeah, we got to wait to see what this stock is going to do before you figure out what the indexes are doing. I just bought some Tesla and some Amazon down here. But wait, we're talking about the SPY. Okay, SPY. Look, I've been looking a lot at the NASDAQ, obviously, but we can look at SPY here just real quick. Apple's still a monster component there of the S&P 500, dropping into VWAP right now, 54.70 there on the ES. We'll have to roll over our contract soon, actually. All right, so, I always like VWAP bounces, especially on strong names. So to me, the index is no different. Here we go. Come on, Tesla. Let's go. 30 cents in the money on that one right now. And we just put that on. All right, I mean, a drip down into VWAP, I like it. The 200 period, we've just broke it right now if you're looking at a longer time frame. I'm still relatively positive. I mean, I'd like to have this event end before we really see if the market wants to roll over on Apple news. I mean, I think that's a little bit premature to think that, but 545.50 has been the top. But if you break that little ledge there, then potentially we get back into 544. So yeah, we're close. We're close. That's VWAP right now. So you lose it, and I think you lose the market here. So yeah, I'd watch out. This 543 is in danger if we can't hold. And we just go down on randomness here. So, yeah, for me, a little bit disturbing at where we're going. We looked at banks earlier. Citigroup was up, but some of the other banks had retraced a little bit. So, we'll have to look at that whenever you're looking at the spiders and then, of course, energy. So,
yeah, some of them had come back. At least the last I checked, JP Morgan had made a little bit of a bounce. But overall, something we talked about on Friday with Ryan Faluna after market was, just because you had the dump and the loss of the 50 period on the daily for the SPY, doesn't mean it's all over. Like any pullback in, you want to see how we react back into that 50 period moving average. So we're halfway, a little better than halfway there actually, because it's like 549, not 550. So you're a little better than halfway there. That said, it didn't quite want to get back into that 49 for a test. Would have liked to have seen that happen. I feel like we're going to talk about Apple next. Like Apple could be the reason why we're not going to get a chance to make that test, to be honest with you. The way it looks like it's going here. But yeah, still running into, I think that 50 period from support to resistance now on the daily for the SPY is going to be the problem for the markets going into this week. So you had that bad week last week, and any rally is going to run into that 550 level or now 49 as a bit of a brick wall on the SPY. And if you're wondering why we're headed down now, I think you can pretty much blame Apple. I mean, we'll talk about Apple next in the event. And it's not like I don't think they're saying anything that is causing it, but sometimes it's a sell the news type of event, and we were cruising just fine, the overall market, until they started talking about the AI feature. Let's get into Apple and their Glow event.
Yeah, here's some of the headlines coming out of Apple. Obviously, they're looking to introduce the new AI features, the Apple Intelligence, slated to be released in October, not with the new 16. They're also adding a new button for the camera, giving users faster, more efficient touch, 48 megapixel camera. And then the AirPod 4 get wireless charging along with new variants. Adira was saying it's going to be hearing aid compliant, so that's going to be interesting as well. To keep an eye on what the iPhones actually look like, these are some of the new colors. That's not for the Pro. Still haven't seen the colors that are going to come out for the Pro. And that's that new camera button. They're calling it the action button, so you can program it to do whatever you want. The guys, still more information rolling out.
Oh, I didn't see the
action button. There's a graphic there? I missed.
No, I didn't get a chance to. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't look anything different. Okay, never mind. It doesn't. It doesn't.
No, I mean, yeah, I think it's supposed to be a little bit of a new form factor. All right,
Is that different?
I think it's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
All right, so coming back in right there, 217 coming in. I mean, Apple off about $3 from its high here. We just made that. Again, it just came into where we were at the beginning of the day. You already had that drop into this area, but the market's losing. So, yeah, here we go. Losing VWAP. Apple starting to come back in right now. I mean, I don't know what NVIDIA is doing, but I already said this. It was nowhere near the sticky note. We talked about this earlier today. I didn't want anything to do with this name, especially on a day like this. I mean, I remember trading Meta went on its Oculus day or whatever that day was not great. And then Apple right there as well here today. I mean, if you had gone long because you like the AI ideas, then this is what happens, right? I mean, and you know, if you go short, I don't know, like, because you don't like them, like, it just seems like so crazy to lose billions and billions of dollars on these things. But here we go, nice move downside. I don't have it in my ear, obviously, listening to the show, but we'll see. Right now, it's back down to day's low. So I would say you go short if it breaks, man. I mean, 217. There's nothing stopping this move. I could keep going down. Kind of sucks when you see this, but you know, we had gotten out of some Apple. We said earlier that it's going to sell off on this, and the only thing that I think is a catalyst to be buying back Apple shares is the buyback that they have underneath them, of course, the largest in history, $110 billion. And then you also have the actual sales data of the iPhone 16. So we'll see what that is when that comes through. But for right now, Apple in a little bit of free for all. Needless to say, still getting worse. It looks like.
Yeah. Like, I actually thought there was going to be a pop and fade kind of notion, and I don't know, it just couldn't really get going on the event. Like, it never got to the 50 on the daily, which is, see how every single open or close the last few days, at least the open or the close has been the 50 pre-moving average on the daily for Apple, 222.5. I thought that was going to be it, and we'd be looking for a pop into that. Well, it was cruising and looking like you were going to get a push right into that 222 area. Now we're just dumping. So I guess now that the event is on and we can look forward to, I guess, post-event trading, I'm just going to look to short some pops here on Apple. As long as it's underneath that 50 period, let's use that for resistance. But for this afternoon, you can't really wait around for that. I think VWAP, when things accelerated, they accelerated underneath VWAP in 219. So maybe just look for that, only because it's adjacent and we're not going to get another chance to talk about it. Alphabet did a weird barcode from 12:36 all the way till for an hour or so, right in here at 149.5, and now it's trend down from that with another retest. I think taking the stairs down on Alphabet, starting with that level just above 149.30 or so. Next available pop, want to short that. I don't think it has anything to do with Apple going down. This was going kind of down before.
All right, GameStop reports after the bell tomorrow, and it was already moving last week. As a result of this headline, Roaring Kitty posted last week, dropping what looked like to be a dog, maybe kind of implying that he's dropping his position on Chewy. We're really unsure, but this had GameStop moving again. We kind of covered it during the midday. Not really much to talk about other than the fact that they've got earnings coming up tomorrow after the bell, guys.
So first things first, Ibad Ullah Khan in the chat. I am not buying an iPhone 16 in a green color. I just got the chills today, man. And the only sweat, like, I keep a sweater at the office. Usually I'll wear one, but I keep a sweater. This is actually a chive sweater that I've had here forever, just when it gets cold. So the clash of colors is real. It just so happens to be green. I have a green one, I have a gray one. The gray one I wear at home, and the green one, for whatever reason, I don't even know why I left it here. But GameStop, every single day in the afternoon, GameStop has looked something like this for the last couple of, well, okay. I shouldn't say every single day because there was a couple of down days, but there's been enough days where we looked like, okay, we're bouncing and trying to make some lower or higher lows and all that kind of good stuff and trending back up. And there has been a trade. Now there's buyers above 24 for the first time in a while. And you can see it consolidating above last week's top, or at last week's top more accurately. So 24.25 Friday highs, last week highs. I think that can be a nice little dip zone. Yeah, they report tomorrow, but I mean, you cross that bridge when you get there, and do fundamentals even matter? It's clearly got some support after breaking out at just about noon. Support here, 24.30, 24.30. If it's going to do that dance, it's been a reasonable trade the last couple of days that it's looked like this. where you can go long into the highs, but you usually want to buy the dip and then play the breakout. Just because we get a lot of, when it's running, we get some questions about AMC. Spoiler alert, AMC is not joining any kind of a party. It is still underneath $5, although it's basically at $5. Still waiting for this breakout on AMC. Ridiculously tight range. I mean, it can't stay there forever. It's going to break up or down. You almost don't care as a trader which way.
We're going to look. We don't have Tesla on that board right there, but right now we are into Tesla. Tesla's 70-cent winner right now, back up to that area as we've just been buying some of these dips there. New position alert. We just got more into Palantir. Like Palantir's, I mean, it's going to come there last. We'll get to all these soon, but just right now buying some more off the 200 period is PLTR. All right, let's go back over stock number 4.
Celsius Holdings here next, guys. No real catalyst that I saw today other than this headline here. Truist Securities maintaining their hold on Celsius and actually lowering the price target to $30. That's despite being up 6 1/3. There was this headline from last week, though, that the Celsius management was going to give a fireside chat at the Barclays 17th Annual Global Consumer Staples Conference. I guess something good was said there because it's been a nice little move up since then.
They're not on fire anymore. Celsius is converting to Fahrenheit. I don't know. I got nothing.
I mean, that would be nice if it did. You get a nice little upside bump right here. SELH.
The daily chart of Celsius.
I know, it's crazy.
It's not often that you see. Like, how many times do you see a double top that's this clean on a daily? Like, look at the wicks. Like, these are almost identical wicks above $96. Not that it matters, but anytime you see something like that and then you get a breakdown, like that's when shorts are like laughing, like, oh my goodness, look at how good that short looks. But yeah, nice little consolidation bottom, and it's a 13% short float. That's decent size short float for an $8 billion market cap. You know, do your math there. That's a pretty decent chunk that is short and probably looking for places to cover. It starts bouncing off the bottom here. It's a decent upward trend, but today anyways, but you have not really broken any kind of a trend to the downside. Like if I were to just do it from here, like there's your big dump down and kind of connect the dots in here, like something along this, like you're still in a very clean downward trend. It probably needs to get above like 36, 37 before it cleans that one up to the upside. So Celsius, great look so far today, but I think on the higher time frame, to clear out the bottom, it's got to be above 36, 37 or so to break this hefty downward trend.
All right, pricing coming out right now. We'll go bang right now. Drop down some cash because we're starting to print a little bit now. As Palantir, we just bought it down there at 20s, or sorry, where are we long? 22s. Out at 30 right here, just for a third. Let's see if it wants to continue to work. We're now 70 cents in the money on Tesla as Real Trading continues here with our number one sponsor, Real Trading. Make sure you check them out, realtrading.com, your number one prop floor availability. Apple, yeah, right now, so they just dropped it. It's only the iPhone. It was 7 and change for
$799.
$799 for one of them, and then we'll see. I mean,
$899 for the 16 Plus.
$899 for the 16 Plus. Okay, so they haven't talked about the Pro yet.
No.
But just up and down there for pricing right here on Apple. So we'll watch out. Amazon's is the one that's not working. This one's coming back in. We're going to wait a couple more pennies before we drip out of this. But Amazon's the one that's not holding right now. Market below VWAP and starting to get lower. Maybe we'll get out of some Tesla as it's holding upside right here. We only have about like 35% left of this trade, and it's been a good one. Let's wait to see what happens with Tesla. But for right now, market falling back in. Palantir time.
Oh yeah, big time Palantir time, Sean. Almost at day's highs. Obviously, the catalyst today is its inclusion in the S&P 500. It was included with Dell. They removed Etsy and they removed American Airlines in favor for the two preceding ones. Yeah, so great look there. It reported obviously in early August, and they did quite well. So shout out to the OG.
I mean, look, we've been talking about Palantir since the minute it came public. It's been a big stock, and then we finally get what we needed. We tweeted it out on Friday when it was released into the S&P 500, announced that it was always going to be the biggest trade today, and that's exactly what it was. It's the biggest trade by the guys behind us. It's the biggest trade here on the floor by far. 33.10 break. It was the 52-week high. That was fantastic. So we're just waiting for that, and we loaded into it when it did happen. We're long right now as it's pulling back here on market weakness, but that's not the trade. It dropped off early and we were able to buy. Like we have lows of the day here of 32.50s on Palantir, 32.50. In, boom, get a little bit out on the way back up there, 32.90. That's just a ho-hum 40 cents. Then it breaks that level and then it's off to the races where we get a bunch out in and around 34. Really happy to do that. It comes back in and then we just put it on again right there and reloaded down there again at VWAP, came through. I guess we got stopped out there right when we were getting off the show at 11 o'clock off that last one. Now it's another little bit of a reload opportunity, but Palantir making a lot of people a lot of money around here, Neil. So good trading there today for PLTR. I think there has more room to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a blue sky setup. So I'd say it has lots of room to go. You still have a couple of weeks until the actual addition. I think that's usually the time when profit taking starts to happen en masse for something like this. But you have to go out to a weekly chart for Palantir to get an idea like where it might be headed. I mean, obviously the levels on the daily chart, kind of like the 30 level, that was a big one that's already gone. And then your 52-week high break. When you zoom it way out, you get the 2021. I don't want to call it like tops, but if you look at resistance in here, it's like $37. I think if it gets to 37 to 40 by the time we actually get the addition, that would be where I would be thinking it's a sell post that. But I think look, the 23rd is always the Monday, right? So like the Friday is the last day it trades when it's not in the index. So like that following week is when I would expect to have some kind of a sell event. Not really. I mean the trade itself speaks for itself, like 52-week high break, and then the dip area for me was this 32.40 level, which it gave you the dip as well. So if you go back to $34, it's actually still in a bit of an upward trend where prior support is turning into resistance or prior resistance is turning into support at the 34 level. And then VWAP sits at 33.80 if you're into that on PLTR. Just to go back over to Alphabet, which I said, going to look for a short and the next available pop. It instead decided it wanted to break a flat bottom at 49. 149 that is. So Alphabet's still working to the downside. Its low of the day is 148. Next key support level is 148.5 and then 148.25 this morning. Alphabet did a flat bottom break on Friday. You'll remember this is it. It couldn't hold the 200-period moving average on the daily, and it did a flat bottom break. It's still searching for that bottom. Looks on the daily chart like 145. Seems like a reasonable like next potential stop here for Alphabet. I mean, the fact that this is even under the 200-period moving average, it's like, it's not a good look here for Alphabet. You're searching for a bottom, and I know this is a name that I'm going to be buying the dip on somewhere. But with that 200-period gone, going to have to look for something else.
Yeah, we definitely missed that Google trade. And again, I want to say thank you to everybody there as well, because there's the 152 short sell there on Google, and then you guys even mentioned it right there where it popped right back into that 152 area. And then since then, it's been straight downside, man, 148.20 and change. So good little look there on Google. Wish we'd had that, obviously, but it's still well traded. So we'll be happy about that one. All right, Amazon falls through 50s finally. So we get out, man. I mean, it was the same thing that we were looking at right here on Amazon that ripped up. It just did not hold right now. And, you know, the market's below. We shouldn't really be long anything. We just take another big one right there. It's another one. It's a good one there. It's not quite. So Travolta's like, what are you doing? But it was pretty close right there. We just took 67 cents on Tesla right there. Now we only have small piece left on TSLA. We're pretty close to the highest we've been at all day. Amazon just slipped up there, so we will give some back. Palantir's not doing much. And we can have a quick look at NVIDIA, where we're flat on NVIDIA today. We went in and out here at 104, and not much happened. I mean, we're down, but basically flat. We got some great prices there on NVIDIA. If the market's going to rebound, I think it will be led by some of these names, but more likely to be Apple, which now is trying to make its move back up. They still have the pro pricing, but I mean, if it's anything like the other ones, I think it's a couple bucks higher than what it's always been. So I feel like that's per use, per standard there, as they always go up a little bit or stay roughly the same. So, all right, 218.25 coming into play. Good little bottom there, 217.5. Oh man, now I feel like I want to get back into Amazon, but we had that feeling before and it worked, so maybe we will.
They're talking about the max now.
Yeah, now 70 cents in the money on Tesla, only 5 cents on PLTR. All right, SOX L maybe as a play then, if we're going to get back up now, 27 and change coming on SOX L, PayPal. Yeah, PayPal up. I'm just trying to find names that might be moving a little bit different. So maybe we'll try the SOX L here at some point and get into this Amex name. But yeah, other than that, thoughts on Starbucks? Yeah, we can have a look at that in a minute too.
Yeah, certainly. But before we get into that, this segment was brought to you by our friends over at Moomoo, where becoming a funded trader means trading, or trade the pool. Sorry, that's my bad. Becoming a funded trader means trading with a firm's money instead of your own. At Trade the Pool, you first complete an evaluation by hitting profit targets while managing risk. Once you pass, you get access to up to $260,000 in buying power, where you can keep up to 80% of the profits while the firm covers the risk. It's a perfect way to trade big without risking your own funds. Ready to become a funded trader? Then join Trade the Pool. And maybe you can look as cool as some of the individuals in those shades over there. And when you are trading a firm's capital, the thing about it is it gives you the opportunity to leverage a little bit differently. Your risk to rewards to trade is to trade, but it gives you that sort of confidence to just say, hey, we prop trade. You put your levels in, you put your performance in, and then you get that you get more risk, but the trades remain the trades. There was a question you were talking about Starbucks, Sean. There was a question a couple people have asked about Nike. See Battles saying Nike shorts are on sale. Well, Nike stock is on sale today, and it's flat bottom-ish breaking down on the daily chart in here. So it's just taking out last week's lows as we speak. Not a green candle in sight, I should say, in the last hour and a half on Nike as it breaks down. So I like this look. I mean, I'm looking for things that we can fade off if we're going to dump in to the downside. And this is consolidating, or at least attempting to consolidate underneath last week's lows. Alphabet does seem like it just took out the 50 level, so we are headed to the bottom in here. Still no, they're talking about the max, but they haven't given the price of the max yet, at least nothing that I have been able to hear yet. So they're talking about the best battery life on all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, would it ever not have better battery life than the ones before it? Is that ever a thing? I don't think it would be. So, yeah, not surprised about that. It's the pricing that we want to see. But given how expensive, like when the new Pixel and stuff comes out, you're not going to get ticker shock, at least for me, because you're already expecting big prices on the Mac.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. It's already going to be the most bought, most sold phone of all time, this iPhone 16. Whatever they release now is kind of irrelevant. You actually want, as a shareholder, you actually might want a higher price. So force the retailer to pay higher.
It should cost at least as much as Pixels.
Oh, it'll cost much more than
it should. It has to.
It will, of course it will. Come on. Okay, so right here, watch out now. So we did get a piece out. I just want to go over to Palantir, sorry. That's what I meant clicking on. We just got up to the 50-period moving average on Palantir, so a good little trade there, man. 200 up to there. We only have a third left. We're trying to get a little light on these trades as we move into sort of still a little bit of a dull spot as the futures are underneath. So we flipped over to try to go some short. SOX L, we said we would do this. This is the chips. So we'll, is it actually, it's double levered 3 times. Oh man. Okay, 3 times the bulls. So again, you could go the other way. We'll just short the bullish one here, just like we sometimes do with the TQs. We go that way as well. But here's SOX L right now, $27. Just trying to get it underneath this 27.10. If we break above the 50 period, then we're gone. Let's try this. I mean, this is definitely worth it, in my opinion. We actually did not get picked up there. We were bidding 92s right at that bottom. It came into us and stopped, which is fine. I mean, we're at that level for a reason. So let's wait to see if 92 can fill down there for SOX L. Otherwise, this is a quick trade, man, out in the 20s if we have to on SOXL here with an average in. I mean, we'll try to take something in and around 9s or 10s, right where the 200 period is. And then we'll get out the 50 period. Then we'll get out if it breaks a little bit higher than that. Give it at least 10 cents here as the ETF. There goes Tesla. I mean, Tesla's getting really close to that right now. This is for you, Ozan, as we'll go a little longer on Tesla now. 80 cents. We just put this on right at 2 o'clock. So there it is. Quick little move into the 200 period. We did try it before. Really successful there. Not successful the last little run. Let's go. Let's get going to the upside now. Tesla going. Palantir trying to go. And then, of course, that SOX L trade. So we'll just have to wait to see how that one pairs out. NVIDIA. I don't even know where Patrick is. But I was looking on this thing, and you know what we wrote down on our sticky note? I mean, Mara 1420. Again, like, I know people are going to be like, why you just, we should be taking our trades that we write down there. There's 1420 right there. We don't have any trades on Mara today. Why? Because, I canceled everything that happened there at 1420 because I was like, oh, may not get to there. I was going, it was lunchtime, right into here. Well, look what happens. 1420 is the top. It does not break. When it does break, right, you pull back 5 cents and then you rip up 45 cents from there. So what a trade right there for Mara. Congratulations, anyone who had some kind of diamond hands. 1420 right there. You know what? Adam said this before when we talked about Coinbase. It's like, it's the process. We put this out for free. This is another great trade there on Mara, right? The 152 on Google, the 1420 on Mara, the 3310. The 3310 listed there for our trade of the day on Palantir. These are the ones. And then, of course, the Tesla long, which right now is trying to go and Apple's trying to go. So we'll just hold on to all of these. The top 2 stocks here today, P&L-wise, for me, will be Palantir and Tesla. Crazy amounts there with that one. And then we're going to work on SOXL, see if that one can come back in. So right now, we're just kind of chilling out. We're going to take a little sip of this water here. Palantir 9 cents in and Tesla 80 cents in. Shout out to Mara.
Yeah, Mara looking fantastic to the upside, but Bitcoin not really doing much of anything. I'm still, we'll see what happens when Bitcoin gets back to 15A, because I think that's still going to be a bit of a trouble. Just quickly going over, I'll go to Google back in a second. I want to put a trail on it. But when you talk about, this is the reason I'm saying I think 15A could be a little bit of trouble. On a 15-minute, all we're doing is you make a nice recovery over the weekend, and then the same resistance that we had late last week underneath that 58 level is still intact, and you're kind of consolidating underneath it. So until you get back above, start breaking above 58, then I'm going to get a little bit more excited. Let me pop to a 1-hour chart to give you an idea. Like, you've made a bit of a bottom, but I want to see you get back above this level here, that 58. If you can do that, I think you can get a nice little rally back into 60. Until then, it's kind of overhead resistance until it's not, unfortunately, for some of the crypto names. So just 2 things here. One, Nike's making a bit of a bounce. The other thing, if 149 breaks, I'm jumping out of Alphabet, looking for another retracement, possibly back into 149.40. So that's the level that held when I trailed out of it the first time. We got back in when it broke. And Nike with its first, let's not count our eggs before they're hatched. It's looking like it's a first green candle since falling apart here in the middle of the day. Although you still have a couple of minutes to go on this 15-minute. The 17.6 level, if it can't do it, a failure underneath 79.6 would be a consolidation. Look for a short underneath that, last week's bottom here on Nike. It's just bleeding, and every single time it's consolidated, it's giving you a chance. If we close without breaking back above 79.6, I want to look short to 79.6 on Nike. And Spike, what are we thinking about GameStop? Patience. It gets shown you support here, 24.30. It's doing nothing right now, 10-cent range. So a dip, holds on to 24.30. Any kind of a bounce play, look for a long, stop it underneath there is the way I would approach GameStop. It's been very similar. Like last week, it gave you the same thing 2 or 3 times during the week.
All right. Meanwhile, we'll drop down a little bit more cash on XOL. XOL. Right there back in. So good little trade here on SOX. We talked about that into the 50 period. Right back down in right there again. So this stock is going to number 3 right now. And it's just by this little move. We talk about being able to be patient, be able to wait for your trades, putting them on. Different, right? And so getting it out now, stocks feel way different when you have them on. So for right now, I was thinking about holding it through this break, but we are now out of a third already as it just fell into these levels one more time. We got a bunch out there, 97s, and some out at O's. So it's not even like, it's like a 10 cents, now 10 cents in. We took 8 cents, then we took about 11 cents. Now we'll wait. I mean, the whole thing is pretty much barcoding, but I really like this break. If we can break it back in, we'll have to watch NVIDIA and stuff to see what exactly is going on, but this is a decent level right here as well, and that would be 80s. So maybe we'll put a bid down around the 80 level and see if we can't get something going on there for this name. So of course that SOXL back into the 80s. Actually, I already have a bid there. So, okay. We have a bid at 92, and then we have a bid at 82. So if we can get that, that'd be all good. Tesla went $1 into the money. Now, we only have a small piece left of this trade, but it did go $1 in. But I'm just focused on this one. So if the SOX can come through and print for us, then we'll really be laughing. That's kind of the trade for me right now. But watch out for Tesla. Watch out for Palantir. Both have come back in. But we're playing the short. That's what we're playing right now. Here we go. Oh, yeah, Neil. It's time. Come through right now for SOXL. Nice little move back into the downside. There we go. A nice push back through for that name. So far, so good right there. I might just hold the short now and get out of all these other names.
Yeah, I think the short's certainly working. Apple just made it to the low of the day. It's bouncing, at least it's attempting to bounce at 217, but I feel like you want to stick with them. Nike obviously just closed at the low as well. I shouldn't say obviously, it did just close at the low. So I'm shorting into 79.6 with that 15-minute bar closing still in the red on Nike. Google, if we don't break a fresh low here, 148.5, then I'm just going to jump out of this one. If Apple's at the low of the day, and this is going to make a higher low, and the NASDAQ's trying, then I want to jump out, work back into this one. So I'm going to take, we were short this originally, the price I loved was 149.5. I don't know if we're going to get that again, but to me, the continuation has not been quite as big as the initial move. So I'm going to lock this in at the 3/4. Nike might just end up breaking the low of the day instead of popping. If that's the case, that would be a 40 break on Nike. I meant to check Starbucks to see if it was doing something similar, but we'll get to that in a quick little second. Just want to lock in Google and see if Starbucks isn't setting up a little bit better than what we're seeing in Nike. If it is, I don't mind either one of them. Would have expected Starbucks to be doing a little bit different to this. Someone had said, see, when the question came in for Starbucks, I assumed it was doing the same thing as Nike because people were going back to back. Starbucks did not end up losing that support level. It's actually back above it. Starbucks looks like a rebound long. I was thinking we were just continuation through that dump through 91 from Friday. But Starbucks looking very good. So I hope you're long that stock if you were asking about it.
So we got out. We got out of Tesla down here at the 60s. I was just like, okay, man, if we're going to break, we're going to break. Let's get out for flat. Well, we still took 10 cents. Winner there on Tesla. We'll get out of the way of that one. And then we did get out of the way of Palantir for flat as well, or 1 cent, whatever it was, there for flat, because I am sort of hitching my wagon. I'm already out of half of the SOXL trade. It's just, this is the one we had the most shares on here by 5 times. Than the other names. So this one moving down for me, 20 cents is really this. Remember, we talked about this. Everybody will trade with completely different share sizes. So you got to make sure that you're taking profits. Like some of you will scalp options. Some of you will hold on to them. Some of you will take different durations. And I mean, it is how you trade. So that's what's going on right there. And I think the best thing to do is just simply, you can always ask us. Our things will go across the bottom. We used to show you like what stocks we actually traded throughout the day as a total, but maybe we'll be able to do that again at some point to figure all that out. But you can always ask us if we're up or down on a symbol or what our price targets are, things like that. So we'll be more than happy to do that with you right now. So, all right, just quickly coming in, 26.83. I talked about that as being a level. So we actually started getting some fills down there. We got 80. Well, we got 89s. Actually, we did not get our 82 fill. So we're still waiting for that one to come through on this. But we just took some out at 90. Pretty happy with it, although I can see Tesla right now is trying to go back upside. So we did dump that one 30 cents too prematurely. What's up, Erie Pages, and what's up, Adara?
AAPL trying to find some support here and pushing higher. Right now, we have them talking about how some of the iPhone video features were used to shoot the weekend music video. So AAPL, as this happens, a little bit of volume to the upside. Just keep an eye on this event, still ongoing. Currently talking about some of those iPhone 16 Pro video features, guys.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, obviously the last thing they usually do is mention the pricing. So, you know, they got to get through all the features and all the cool stuff that's in there. But it did catch a bounce off 217. If you're still looking for fade mode in here, this is the first bounce since the reversal. On a 15-minute, it doesn't look all that great. But if we hold the pry bar on the 15 is going to be like 218.20. So if it doesn't break that, I got to still be thinking shorts on Apple. If it breaks that out, fair enough. If they, for some reason, decide to buy it up after hearing the price, that's not completely subpar. But just to finish the thought on Starbucks, like the other side of, oh, you can be trend down every single day. Starbucks, that's a flat bottom break from Friday, the recovery back to 91, the hold of 91, and now breaking out above 92. Starbucks, if it can make a fresh high, like this is a very impressive rounded bottom for Starbucks. And then you also have to keep in mind, S-Bucks, this was the after the C-suite setup, or shakeup, I should say, low here, and now you're going to regain it. I'm not saying it goes back all the way to the high, but if it takes out a fresh high above 92, this is a pretty impressive rally there on Starbucks, especially considering the context of what I'm seeing in Nike. Those two are usually going side by side every now and then with China risk, but not today. Starbucks is looking pretty impressive at that 92. Just to complete the thought, $11.99, they just said the Pro Max, the price.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was higher or lower than it.
Well, it's starting to come down already.
Current price. So, okay, yeah, here it is, $217.50 right now for Apple. Right now available for pre-order this coming Friday. So I would say that there you go. It's probably getting close to being over, wrapping up that event. But we're just really loving life here as we only have one position right now, and it is short on the SOX L, which is basically the futures here as far as chips are concerned. All right, Adara, over to you.
This part of the show is brought to you by Moomoo. Moomoo is shaking up the investing game with its cash sweep program, offering an incredible 8.1% APY on uninvested cash, far surpassing typical stock returns. This all-in-one app, backed by NASDAQ and the SEC, ensures your funds are safe with FDIC insurance up to $500,000. Your cash earns interest 24/7, and you can access it anytime to reinvest when the market turns. Plus, sign up now to snag 15 free stocks and bonuses, up to $2,300 in Canada. Don't let your money sit idle. Make it work for you. Also worth noting here, the iPhone event here, they did have an iPhone 16 priced from $799 and iPhone 16 here from $999. There's also some features if you turn in an iPhone 12 or newer. So some pricing updates for that iPhone 16 as this event continues here, guys.
iPhone 12. Well, that's good. I have a 12 Pro, so good to see that. And again, just bouncing around into 217, now taking out. Let's go. We got some 86 fills on SOXL. ARM pulling back in as well. Let's see. Hold on a second.
What is this?
The ARM product not mentioned in the iPhone, contrary to reports probably from Bloomberg. Nice move to the downside right here for ARM. But yeah, again, ARM is inside most likely, I would say. So I think that might have been a good little opportunity, but it's just down into 124. Watch out for ARM. And that would be nice if that was not true, because your boy right now is putting on damage over on this side right now with the SOX L. So there it goes, man. I mean, we gave this trade in. It's really starting to pump through now. 30 cents on SOX L. We've really been on one lately, Neil, and one continues right now again on this SOX L trade. So let's get a little lower.
Yeah, market making fresh lows. Well, maybe not the market. Oh, sorry, I just had to cough a little there, so I just muted. But the event's not over just yet. When this thing ends, I do want to look at Apple if it takes out that low. But the market made fresh lows. Nike just broke the low of the day for another press to the downside. It looks like 79 could come into play here. Every 15 minutes, I'm checking back on this. If it puts in a green candle, want to make sure we're trailing it. I do want to get back in. Okay, event is over. Why do I still? Oh, he's just wrapping it up. Okay, so we are done. We felt like that could be a bit of a turning spot. I do want to jump back into Alphabet, but now it's breaking lows of the day. So we're going to look for the next available pop to jump back into this trade. Thankfully, we were able to get into Nike, but we did jump out of Alphabet while looking to get back into the trend at some point. So Apple's still hanging out at the low. There was a break of 217 when they finished, but it just immediately regained it. So kind of whipsaw action. They did sell it right through the low of the day, and now it's going to try and press. If you lose 217, again, remember, this is you're pretty much at last week's bottoms as we speak. So if we lose 217 for good, I think you could see a little bit of acceleration to the downside on Apple. That's where it's this, Nike, and Google are the three names that I'm looking at. We're going to make a fresh low on Apple. Okay, we just did. So Apple just broke low of the day. If it holds under 217, short till it's at least above the 10s. I mean, the previous local bottom was 217.10. So we'll see if it can hold on to that. Wow, they're flashing a lot of buyers in this range. So a bit of a battle happening here at the 17 level on AAPL.
All right. What's Palantir doing? 34.20. Okay. So far, so good. Over here, Tesla falling. Yeah, good out for us on Tesla as that's starting to fall back in as well here. Continuously going through the downside here goes Tesla, goes the SOXL, goes Palantir. Lots of downside moves right in right now. I would think that you'd want to buy Palantir on any weakness. So that could be something right there. We've only traded today 5 names now with SOXL. Palantir. So I just stay to what I've been thinking about mainly. We should have been on Mara, obviously, as we talked about that. But Palantir and Tesla and that Google trade at 152, a good one. And then we go into this as well, into SOX. And we just got some out there. I think did we get a 7? No, we got an 81. We did not get a 76. Oh, we're bidding 66s for this name as it comes back in. And then, yeah, I like that Google trade. I mean, Nike's falling down in again. That's a good one. Shopify, let's check out Boeing. Boeing was a news piece today. I like to stay in the pocket with what we do, and that is just to, check news with catalysts. I mean, it's why Tesla and Palantir are the 2 #1 stocks. It's pretty simple. Trade names with catalysts, right? Right there, Boeing. Yeah, what a trade this was to go short here at 164 and change. So nice move down there right now for Boeing, but it's been a good day. 3.5%, pretty good. That little bottom right there of 162 is held now twice. So just a $2 range there for Boeing. Not enough for me, but definitely something if it comes into the bottom there. The market's starting to get weaker and weaker, and we're happy to trade Boeing. But
I like that too. You know what? I'll admit. Just another cough. Look, I didn't like Boeing enough. I had on my note Boeing bounce off daily support 160 with strike averted potentially. Obviously, until you actually get a signed deal, yada, 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 it's potentially they have a deal going. Over under 162.5 was the note that I put in on Twitter this morning. 162.5 at the open, again and again. Now, granted, as Sean mentioned, it really only went a couple of dollars, so the range was very, very tight on Boeing, and it still is a very tight range. But I think it's a good sign for Boeing, at least the first steps, and maybe you need to see like pen to the paper. But if you look at what's going on with Boeing, this 160 has been the floor and a pretty decent one. And you're going to hold on to it, at least it looks like you're going to hold on to it here today with a 4% move. It just never really broke out the top. Like you bounced where you wanted to bounce. And if you're wondering where the level comes from, pretty much when I get a key level, it's going to generally be off a 15-minute chart as opposed to like the 3-minute chart, which we'll show a lot of trades on. But if you wonder where the level comes from, just look at Thursday's close, and then Friday dumped off at that zone. So you closed 162 change, and then the following day, you essentially found resistance at the 162.50. So that becomes the target area for a dip buy today on what was good news for Boeing. It goes into it a couple of times. Just never really takes out the high. I think this actually sets up pretty well for 164. I mean, this is not really half. It's more like 164 quarters. For a break, just wonder where the volume's going to go. It's just, there's no volume into this. It sets up really well. I mean, looking at the chart, it looks pretty good actually, that is a half break when I look at it a little bit deeper. But it's just not enough volume here on Boeing. I like what it's doing on the daily chart. Maybe we just need to chew through it better. We went with the breakdown on Apple after the event was done. It came right back to that previous low from last week and broke it back out. So I'm out of it. Doesn't mean it can't still continue downward trend. If it does, I will look back to see if it gets back underneath that 217 level. Google, we just cancel. Google just went all the way down into the low of the day, so Alphabet's about to break low of the day as we speak. Next available pop would be a bounce off 184 in theory. Looks like it wants to test 148. Google down 1.7% into an up market today. We're all up, except for Alphabet in the Meta. Well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't looked at Meta today. I was going to say we're all up, but I have no idea what some of the other ones are doing. Meta's up on the day.
Meta's up. Amazon might be. All right. So as we go, just real quickly, we only had 20% left of our SOXL position. We talked about what levels we'd like. We talked about this 80 level that came in, so we took it out. Now we're going to go short one more time against the 200 period, and if it fails that at 12 or 13, then we are out. We're not even really reloading that many shares here. But now that we're up at this level, we might as well put on. I mean, take 10 cents worth of a hit. If that, why am I not? Okay, I was going to say, why did that not fill there? All right, that was a little slow. But all right, so now we're short right there. We got some 01s there in the account, and that's that. So our position now is less than half of what it was up here when we had that first bump. So less than half of what we had now back in. So it's going to be a little bit of a trade here. Interested in it? Let's see if it wants to work out back in now for SOXL. Back into 80s would be great. I mean, even in low 90 fill to get out of something there as we just reloaded it now at 01. So that could be a little bit of a trade. I'm going to put a bid down there because it feels like it missed me last time. So we'll put something in the low 90s and then the low 80s, and then hopefully we can drift down on that one. All right, all the same names keep on flashing through. All right, what's going on with the Roblox? If you guys have any questions you want to ask us, please put it in the chat, and we'll be able to look at some names as well. So we're already out of our Roblox as far as that swing trade possibility was talked about there. 44.50 as a top. Good trade, you know, coming back in today. Looks like it wants to get a little bit lower. You don't want to trade this name long. It is down on the day, so I would rather wait for a pop-up. And I think that, like, if there's going to be a pop-up shop here, it would be around this 43.80 area. So this would be a spot here for me to watch against maybe a 44. So shorting in and around 43.80, especially if this market gets going one more time to the upside.
There's a number at 3.
We'll wait for that. There's a number at 3. Okay, that shouldn't affect me too much. But again, this will probably be the biggest position here. But we'll wait to see what happens with SOXL. I'm just going to wait. If the market gives it up and we get back up to the upside, then we can completely flip over and change our mind. But we are not going to be red on SOXL no matter what happens. So very, very good trade. If we get out of this trade, it'll be like it's a 5-cent hit. So to me, well worth it here. We're still in the money on this as I talk about it. Let's just see what happens. Hopefully a downside push now in the composite and hopefully in the chip names.
Yeah, so it's a consumer credit number. You're out of Amazon now. But the only, I don't think it probably doesn't matter to SOXL, but it might matter to some of the retail names in there. So, I mean, it's coming out in about 13 minutes. We'll have consumer credit. It could matter to something like a Nike. We'll see. A Nike's headed right back into the low of the day. A bunch of questions I see in the chat there. Any thoughts on Rivian right now? And then time to short Summit. Let me start with Summit first. This was that small cap gapper. Sharif I'm pretty sure he was trading Summit today. I don't want to necessarily speak for him. But when you talk about, is it time to short it? Well, double top it at 21, but look at 19. Like, it's a tricky short when you can see how big a deal 19's been pre-market. After the open, support. It just bounced off the 19 level. I think it needs to take 19 down. That said, let's see if we have locates at Real Trading. We do not. We probably have to pay for shorts here. I wasn't really looking at trading this myself, so I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and pay for them unless I go and check them before 3 o'clock and these things are near free. Probably not that interested in paying for locates, but the 19 level, like in and around there for a breakdown, would make some sense to me. A question was about Rivian. Any thoughts on Rivian? Well, I liked Rivian a heck of a lot better when it was above VWAP. I swung 1 for 2 on Rivian today. So like we tried VWAP the first time, no good, but they got stopped out and didn't get back in right away. That was right when the show was ending, so I kind of got up from the desk. But then we were able to get the dip back into 13.5, managed to play into the high, and then lost VWAP ultimately, hanging on to the last 10% of the trade. So I'm pretty bearish on this underneath VWAP, at least until it gets down to that 13 even dollar level again. And it's as simple as this. The reason why we're even looking at Rivian was $13 and the support that it's had in and around there. The actual low recently is 12.80. So if you go back to the August 5th, everyone's blood in the streets and all that kind of nonsense, that was 12.80. But since then, it's been holding on to $13 on Rivian. I think as long as it holds under VWAP, I wouldn't consider longs till it gets to 13, but I think a short under VWAP makes some sense to me. It was a tricky long. Unless you got it really, really early off that $13 level, you really had to be patient with Rivian at VWAP. And sometimes just as a bit of a learning point, I always look, whenever I'm looking back at the VWAP trade, like sometimes I'll look at it and say, oh, I didn't like this one, like that's too early. But it did consolidate a VWAP and then kind of run some stops here. Like right in here, it made a fresh low right into this level. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the we broke some people and then go long. But the thing is, this candle in here, like that's where you break better longs. Like I feel like that's like an early look. I don't mind that. You'll take it because it did try to break down. But when it does this, that's the re-entry you want. Like just jump in. For myself, it's like jump in with the same that you would have taken before. Luckily enough, it ends up setting up off the same levels anyways. Like the level that was resistance before turns into support. So that made that in relatively easy long on Rivian. But at the end of the day, like it's this trade that generally you're going to want a little bit more than that one, although it did still set up a little bit. So hopefully that's what you're looking at for on Rivian. Han's been gone all day. What's your take on GameStop? I wish I could say something different to you, but GameStop hasn't moved since the last time we brought it up when we were doing that rundown. It's still right in here, 24.5. Last week's tops, right? Like last week's highs, or at least Friday's highs, I should say, that's still your support level. I mean, if it dips down into there, that's where I would be looking for some longs as we go back over to Dara.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro. Start your free trial today.
Yeah, it's nothing better than free, and especially such a good program as well. I mean, they were having some of the updates in our ear about that pricing and whatnot for the Apple event. So it's a good service, and obviously we vetted it to our own preferences, but give it a shot yourself. And that's the people that we're going to try to affiliate with, right? I mean, we've had Ryan on. We've been having this platform in for a while, so. Pretty reliable and pretty good, the Benzinga Pro platform. Go check it out. All right, so this is not doing anything. I might just have to look elsewhere. I was thinking about just buying Apple here right off the jump. I mean, if we could break this 218, I think there's something there to get back up to the upside. Like I said, this is going to be the largest selling phone of all. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, 100% it's going to be. It's just a matter of, what
did you want to say? Or what?
No, on the Benzinga note, because on Friday, I should have already said this morning. On Friday, we talk about like things coming out on Twitter. When we were discussing GameStop and the Roaring Kitty tweet where he tweeted out a picture of him throwing a doll out, which I guess signified him dumping Chewy and buying GameStop. Okay. But when he did that, so the tweet came in here. It was right about at noon that he did it. But I'm not sitting there following Roaring Kitty. I'll have it up, and if I see something, you guys tell me something's happening, I'll look at it. But Benzinga had this in time for you to get this breaking $26. And the thing about why that mattered was the negative on Chewy was basically it breaking 26 and getting to 25.20. That was it. Because the second they realized, is he really selling? Who knows? And if he's selling Chewy, does it matter? How much does he even? The guy's a GameStop guy. So it seemed like it didn't make that big of a deal. If you didn't get it right away on the news, it just essentially recovered the whole thing within 10 minutes. That's the value of getting the news in Europe. Because if you don't get that break, usually you're looking for a retest of VWAP, which, by the way, ended up working pretty nicely. Like it retested VWAP here, and then that would have given you a 50-cent win. But that initial move was like a 70-cent move down. That was capturable after people started deciphering what the heck that tweet meant. Although I feel like most people got what that tweet meant right away. I figured it out because other people, I didn't figure anything out. People were saying what it meant. And I'm like, okay, well, that's bad for Chewy. Just take the break at 26 even. But that's why you want to be down there. Now, I'm going to answer this poll that we have up here. By the way, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to discuss anything in the chat, ask us questions. I see LEG and C Battles talking about Nike in there or anything. You have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. Gonna get a new iPhone. The answer for me is going to be no. However, pretty much my entire family, sans me, is going to be getting one. My pops is, 100% he's going to get one. My mom's. I'll tell you right now, I forget who I was having this conversation with, the watch. Mm-hmm. there's something to be said about the peace of mind. I mean, certainly, you know, your parents get up in age and whatnot. Just knowing that they've got it, just in case, God forbid. Like, it's the safety features they have on that are absolutely fantastic. A fall, or maybe you're out somewhere. And for people that, like, if you go hiking and all that stuff, you know, which I guess was into before I got hurt, like, they've got great safety features. I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just more of an Android guy. But yeah, good look for the phone. I think a lot of people are going to get it. But I got to vote no. I got to keep it real. I own the stock, don't own the phone.
Yeah, I mean, if it should almost be like if you're, because there's people that aren't Apple into the thing, right? So into the
what's the word? It was
not the community, the
ecosystem. That's I was struggling for that word.
Yeah, most people that are it is a cult. Yes, of course.
Well, it's the same
I mean, that's the same thing as Tesla. I mean, I think Tesla's a big cult, which is why I love trading that stock, man. When they get excited about Tesla, it is time to go on that one. All right, so a couple more outs there on SoxL, but not moving around. I'm like really close to like liking this Apple trade through, but there's really no technical levels for me to do it other than just this, getting through the event at 218.25 there and trying to take that to the upside. I think I'm going to try it. 218.25, that kind of a break. All right, we'll put that order in and try it. We went and got some lemon ginger tea with some honey in here, so hopefully that'll help. All right, 27.06. All right, we're 10 cents in the money here on SoxL, and we're just going to see what winds up happening now with this trade. Hopefully it will come back in for us. Let's just double check on Tesla, another name that we've been looking at. We can look at Oracle, give a shout out to Oracle. Tesla, again, PL2 today, and it was just because we lost early. It was minus PL, and then all of a sudden it was fantastic as it got going early and then now getting going late. It seems like trying to break below everything right here. I'm glad I'm not long anything right now, and I don't have any ideas of getting any long. But the market's still really not moving. I think this Tesla's getting close to breaking as well. Down into 214, 215, definitely a level of concern for me. Uber, I thought, was moving around. I got it. Yeah, okay. So Uber did, maybe.
Uber?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it has a nice move down, like much stronger than the market, like right there. So I don't know if something had happened from 71 all the way down to 70. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is you could clearly see this could be just one of them breaks again. The day low break of 69.95. Like, you're pennies away from that.
You know where else it is?
If the market wants to give it up, yeah, it's at the 50 period on the daily, I think. If the market gives it up right there, then that's a trade.
No, I just decided something.
We might be able to get into. Yeah, go.
Uber loses the 200 period I'm selling. And no, because I was saying that I didn't, you sold on the S&P, whatever. But if you look at it, like look at the chart of Uber right here. I got out of Nike bounced off 79. I'll get there in a quick second. But look at the chart of Uber. There's your top, like the 81. Then look at how distinct you had the support right in here at 75. And then look at the resistance at 75. Now you could lose the 50 and the 200 at the same time. Last time it did that, like it dumped 65 into 55. It's been a pretty good rally. Usually when I see this and it's like, oh, I was thinking about selling some at the top and I don't. I was thinking about taking more out on the S&P 500 edition, all that stuff, and I didn't. Well, losing the 200 period moving average will be enough to convince me to do that. I'm talking about my personal account, although it's probably a pretty enticing trade in its own right, as Sean was just mentioning. Like I was almost, I mean, it's not at those lows right now. Obviously, it's not at the 200 period right now. But if the day Uber loses the 200 period moving average, it's probably going to be a trade. Nike bounced off 79, at least initially, 79.06. I got out back through the local bottom, which was 79.10. When it printed 11s, I just kind of slapped the trail, anticipating a bounce off of 79. We short the half down into 79. Want to look for the next step down. As long as it's underneath this prior low, which is at 79.6, I want to play short the pops because when it tried, and by the way, the other 15-minute candle is about to close. That was the other thing. So it hasn't had a green candle on the 15-minute. The next time it bounces and tries to do that, I don't know why it's so relatively weak compared to Starbucks. They've usually been moving at least a little bit together. So for this to be dumping, we'll also be getting a consumer credit number in about 20 seconds. which I mean, obviously a retail name could get affected by that. So jumping out and looking for the next trade as we get a consumer credit number, I think makes some sense. Not that I think it's a gigantic market mover, but let's go to Adara and see what the consumer is saying.
Seconds away from this consumer credit change number here. Consensus 12.5 billion, forecast 11.2 billion, previous 8.93 billion. This number coming in right now, just waiting for it to populate. Not seeing it come in yet. Market not reacting too much. Still up about 0.85%. Just waiting for this print to come through. Not seeing it any. Okay, we just got it in here. 25.482 billion. So above the forecast of 11.2. Previous of 8.3. Market not reacting too much to this right now. The S&P 500 higher than expected consumer credit print here, guys.
All right, we'll take a little bit of advantage there. Get something out here, 98, 97 on SOXL for an amazing 10 cents or so. We'll see if it can come back in. Not super excited about anything there. We'll see Amazon, again, a flat stock. Just flat into this number anyways. Made a move off of VWAP again, coming back in. Everything's looking like it wants to take out the bottoms. When I look at a stock, I mean, we're day traders, so when I look at something here in the market's doing this, like I'd love to get it. If it comes back up to here, we'd short it. This is why we're still holding on to that position in the semis. But for right now, I still thinking short, but I understand that there's not much happening. So that's my opinion for now. We'll stay here. Here it comes. There it is. Yes, sir. A little bit of ape action there as we'll see what's going on. We had some GameStop love. We'll see if we get some AMC love as well. But there it is. Nice little move down on SOXL. Trying to print out a little bit here. So we'll see if it can do that. But nice move down. Yes, sir. So there we go. We've justified it. I thought we did a good job there of explaining why we were short. We've only been short here, and we're going to continue to be short SOXL and see if we get a bigger move. I mean, I would love to get a fill down into here in 65 or so. So SOXL. Trying to get filled down into 60s, low 80s, and then 60s for SOX.
Ooh. It's looking. Oh, you know what's interesting in SOX getting down there? I know someone who's going to be buying. Well, I shouldn't say that because they said they might be buying some dips on SOXL. Is Miss Shay's probably looking for a dip.
Oh, okay.
She wants to pick. I think she was looking at picking it up when we talked last week. So. Sometimes you get people that cheer for stocks to go down because they want to get good value on their long-term entries.
There's been such a beat up of so many names.
Oh, there's
like you can pick up a lot of names at great prices.
Google is the one that stands out to me in terms of anything on the large names, but there's so many things that are at discounts. Speaking of discounts, Nike didn't really move on that consumer credit number. Peloton did. Not that I think it had anything to do with the consumer credit number. Peloton just broke some thresholds. I just saw in the chat Darwin mentioning that Peloton is bleeding. This is also on the daily chart. Remember Nike was like a local flat bottom break? Yeah, well, Peloton's kind of the same thing. Right in there. So that's exactly the same setup, Darwin. Like you were trending down already. You just break last week's lows, which are this morning's lows, and you get acceleration. Short the pop is usually the way that I would approach it. So just to give you an idea why I think it's not exactly the same. I would make an argument that Nike was much more of a gentle trend down. Well, when Peloton moves, it doesn't always move as gently as Nike might. So this one kind of fell off a cliff while trending down, but down is down. If it gets back to, I guess, the mid-30s, because 40.40 was that break, I want to see how it reacts to some buying coming in. Peloton, man, at some point, someone's got to think they're worth picking up, but I guess why not wait for it to go to zero? Let's go to Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health. Our groundbreaking brain network and analytics technology is transforming care for patients with depression, dementia, anxiety, concussions, and ADHD. With 15 years of research and a wealth of brain wave data, we're set to illuminate the future of diagnostics and treatment. Pharmaceutical companies and medical practitioners, get ready. FDA 510K cleared BNA technology is here to supercharge your clinical trials and enhance patient care. Join us at Firefly Neuroscience, traded on NASDAQ as AIFF, and be a part of the next big leap in neuroscience. Ignite hope, one brain at a time.
I mean, we are igniting the net underneath us right now, one trade at a time, because SOXL is really starting to go now 25 cents in the money to the downside as the futures probably starting to break. We almost got into Apple. I just want to tell everybody that, and I'm not afraid to do it, even though the market's coming down. It was not going to be a big position to begin with. I was just saying there was no real technical reason to do this as far as my lines were concerned, like a VWAP trade or anything. Okay, SOXL right here. Oh, right. There it comes in now. Yes, sir. Nice little reload there and then drop back in. So this is everybody, I mean, hashtag real trading right here. This is a good little trade coming through for us there. But all right, Apple, look, it didn't break it. We did have that little shelf that I thought, it's setting up right there. I mean, we definitely picked that level dead on. I wish we would have shorted it there, but we were waiting for the break long. I just thought the event's over, get all that garbage out of here, and let's just extend to the north side. Right now, I'm super happy that we fell to the downside right now because, this is the thing, and I see it sometimes on the chat. It's like, how could we be that happy when this thing only drops 20 cents, right? But this is now the third large, just off these little trades that we just started here at 2:30. It's the third highest P&L name on the show for any host. And it's just this little play right there coming back in, right? And so that's the thing, like it's about share size, it's about getting it on, and then you could also lose, right? I mean, if that goes the other way, you feel like, oh man, why did I put on that much risk? But you have to remember something. This SOXL trade that I put on had 6 cents of risk. Like we just got filled down there at 84s. So like that's 24 cents to that bottom side there, right? So well worth the risk to reward. As long as you keep your stop short, you can do that. The problem is when you get carried away and you start averaging into something, you're getting frustrated. That's why the best thing to do is to be calm, cool, and collected with your trades. I still am taking this Apple long, by the way. So if it breaks it right now, I'll be in this one, 218.25 long. So let's give a shot to see if that one works out here.
Yes, sir, and good look. And I actually pulled up Firefly as we were just, as Adara was just talking about this thing. And it's actually up 9 points today. I looked at the 15-minute for this sucker. Like, it's doing a little bit of extra. I mean, it doesn't do a ton of volume, but it's got that setup, the old lit grab underneath, and then the break back out. So when it takes like 4:10, that looks at least a little bit juicy. It's AIFF, and the second Adara mentioned, I'm like, okay, let's have a look. Like, how often do we see these, like, low float runners, got a good concept, and is there something technical? Maybe. That's why we have Raheem on. Raheem gives us some in Toronto all the time, right? And that's why we have him on Thursdays. I think, although he was on last Thursday, so we'll have him on next Thursday. Back to Peloton in here for a quick little second. Peloton, previous low, $4.40. Consolidating underneath it, there's the bounce. Oddly enough, not quite off 420, but adjacent to 420. The short back into 440 is going to be the play for me. That prior low, almost put the stop at $44.10, but $4.41 in there. If we get back through there, I want to jump out of Peloton. As far as Nike goes, it is making a bounce off of 79. Again, it's trying to have a green candle, of which it just does not on the 15-minute, but the last level of resistance was 79.35. The way it's starting to round up, I think you got to let it consolidate and then put in another shelf to the downside. If it's going to trend down, it's giving you chances to get in. Like, that's a clear chance to get in. Like, go sideways, break back down, go sideways, break back down, sideways, fail the break up. That's the key. Like, fail the break up here. In this particular case, another, like, fail the bounce back into here and then break down. Here, didn't even try. This time it failed to break up and then back to the downside. So you want it to show a level underneath a prior high, fail to break it out, then jump back into the short would be the name of the game here for Nike. Otherwise, it could be trying to reverse. I mean, it's certainly possible that this sucker could go. So let us know if there's anything else you guys are looking at. T is up. AT&T is up 47% year over the year. Impressive.
I mean, there it is right now. There's 30 cents in the money right now off of another one right there. There goes Apple. And again, like, this was a trade that I went over numerous times. I said, I'm taking this break, and that's the whole thing, right? Like, traders, some will be in this trade, some won't. And it's just a matter of, does it set up nicely enough for you to take it? We didn't love this trade, so we're in this a lot lighter than we would have been normally. But okay, there it is. It's happening again, ladies and gentlemen, as there goes Apple trying to get up to the upside here. It's the hour of power. We'll see. what happens. We did empty out basically almost our whole clip here on SOXL because we just simply put, we have more shares now on Apple. And it's funny that I have more shares obviously in a $219 name that I do a $27 name, but we've been getting out of SOXL. So here goes Apple. Again, there it goes, man, 35 cents straight up into the money there. So this is what we always get this question about share size, like trade it with whatever you want. There it goes. It's the same trade. Whether or not you took 1,000 shares, 50 shares, 10 shares, there it goes. It's a break of that level. And now you are 50 cents in the money there for Apple. So let's take out a piece there at 70. It just bounced off of that. So we'll take it if it can get back up into there. Good little there move there on Apple. Thank you, girl. GRL Trader. I don't know if that's a girl trader, but GRL Trader right there for Apple. So hopefully that comes through for you guys as well. Disney moved down. Sure. Intel trying to do something.
Intel's trying to do something?
I have no idea. I'm just talking here. There goes Apple, man. There it is. Neil, man, this is a great one. I'm glad we discussed this. Glad that's sort of based out there for everybody there for Apple. It's just a one hitter. Boom to the upside. Now we can sort of let it go. We're out of half of this trade as it just continues to climb right in there to VWAP. Yeah, it was a big day to start right at 9:30, and it looks like it might end that way now, 3:10, and the market's still going higher and higher. Despite not feeling 1,000%, the market seems to be giving us the juice that we need. It's 218.75. Nice move. VWAP, though, is just like, what is that? Oh, well, we're a ways away from that, man. Not really, actually. 218.92, sorry. So we're not too far away. Maybe we'll get that fill coming up on V to the WAP right now on Apple. But there it is, man. That's 50 cents straight up in a couple minutes.
You just got to be patient for it. Wait for it to get to the level. They're there if you want them out there. And speaking of like the levels, we're waiting patiently for us to get right back in. So here comes the Nike. It doesn't mean it has to set up for a short, but the play was go back to prior high, fail it. If you fail back under, show me the wick, and then you've had another entry. This is a 3-minute chart. Like this set up by having a break of this consolidation on a 3 and then right back underneath. So if it goes sideways, there's still plenty of time for it to set up right in here. 79.30, go sideways for a little bit, try to consolidate and then flush. Piton was the new trade. It just broke the low. It's still hanging out. Here, just give you a Piton here. It's still hanging out underneath that 440 level. So we got some on the way back up. It then showed 435 in front of this prior low as a bit of a resistance as well. So went to add on the way down, haven't been picked up, but I got bids through the low of the day on Peloton. Just kind of bleeding. There's a volume spike in it, though I didn't see an actual news story. The spike it happened to occur when that retail number came out. It's a consumer credit. It was a consumer, it wasn't consumer credit. It would have been the consumer credit change for July. There you go. So that caused a spike to the downside for Peloton for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. Now we're sitting bids in front of 425 and then the backside of 425 as it looks like it is relatively weak. John Van Sowers just said Intel's around 1905. I don't know that necessarily means anything unless 1905 is VWAP. No, 1905 is not VWAP on Intel. I had this one early, but thankfully we got away from it. All of a sudden, Intel it's at local bottoms, but not low of the day. As you can see here, like 19 does seem like this wants to break down. This is a weak name. The market's going nowhere, though. Shorting at the low of the day when the stock is up 1%. I don't know. I'd rather short something much weaker. Like Piton's down 5%. Nike was bleeding for most of the day here today. Those just feel like better short trend opportunities. As Nike's about to do another 15-minute bar close. The last time it was looking like it was going to close green, it closed red, ended up being a short breaking back down and got to the low of the day. If it can do the same thing one more time, we got about 1 minute till this bar closes. So the last time it tried to close green, it ended up being a short. I want to see if it can do the same thing back into the low. Difference between this and Intel, down 1.6%. Intel's actually up on the day.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these chip names are actually doing quite well today, so we'll see. I mean, the market's up 0.8, so if your stock is not up, then you're really probably not doing the greatest. I mean, here's a little bit of a watch list that I have every single day. We talk about this as we go. Palantir. This stock in this trade will be paying for a lot of chicken dinner winners for a while. Mara, again, I mean, That was another name that we had listed down right on our sticky note as a long, and that's up 10%. ARM up 6 and a bit. So, I mean, that's huge, right? Coinbase up 5 right now. SOXL is what we're in. Just trying to watch it out there. Apple's pulling back a little bit, right? Boeing, XOM, Tesla, huge update today as well. I mean, there's NVIDIA. Obviously, as Neil said, you don't want to be an Intel. You'd rather be an NVIDIA. Obviously, I think that's pretty obvious. AVGO 139, that's another one there. All these names up, and then the Intel will be right there, 1907. So yeah, almost up 1%. So that's nice. Same as Starbucks. Netflix there, 674, up 1.2%. What's red on my watch list today? Nike, Google again there, which again was the only short that we had. Now $4 in the money. Doesn't matter, I don't have it. So that's good. Apple on the event, we're actually long Apple right now. We've talked about that. And then Micron. So if you're going to pick on a name in the chip space, Micron right there, MU. This is not linked up to our charts here, so I'll have to, Micron, of course, is a NASDAQ name, so there it is. Wow, $85. I remember when we talked about that one breaking through 90 there. Again, and not 90, $100 for that name, but that's Micron right now. And as you can see, I need to update it one more time to get that update there. Okay, there it goes. Micron down 0.62 right now. And look at this, trying to break. Wow, Micron's even worse spot than I thought. Right here at this breaking spot.
That's bad.
This might be sticky note number 1 tomorrow, baby. Micron to the downside. Stay tuned for that. If you're looking for trades of the day, it's every single day. It's at like 8:30 or so. We'll post a sticky note. And today's trades of the day were absolutely huge. Right into here. Someone sent me some messages. All right, right into here. So today's trades of the day here at Trader TV. Palantir long 3310, the Tesla long as well. There's the Mara and there's the Google, and then a little bit of TQQ action. But make sure you join us all every single day live right here, as we will be going over many of these names. And we also have our watch list, tradertv.live. You guys can go pick that up as well for free with, again, economic events on there. And some various names that we'll be looking at. So, yeah, thanks, everybody. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Keep the motivation to keep trading and find the best information out there.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Every single day that we get the chance to, as long as the market's open, we're going to be here. So Nike doesn't end up with, it doesn't fail the red. It doesn't fail the green bar. Like, actually puts in the first green bar since, what is that, like noon? Yeah, since 12:15. So 3 straight hours of essentially downside on Nike, potentially reversing here. That doesn't look like a time to jump into the short. I wanted a continuation of that failure to continue to have it to go downside more and more and more. As you were saying on the chip names there, I wanted to quickly mention Marvell because, Marvell's doing a little something today. It's up 3.5%, but what Marvell's doing is the opposite of your bottom breaks, where you broke on Friday, broke these lows. Well, essentially on Friday, you broke this low on the previous 2 weeks at 66.80. Then it held. There's your resistance underneath it at the end of the day. And then there's your support above it. I love that setup. Like when you have a prior support level get breached, spend a little bit of time down there, then gap away from it, start breaking back out. Marvell looks good. Especially, ideally it holds here and breaks 69 tomorrow, or, holds here and breaks 70 tomorrow. But I like that. It's just showing some relative strength over here in MRVL. They did already report. It was a doozy of a reversal on their earnings. This would have been the earnings day. It was a big move to the upside aftermarket and then a gap higher that just abjectly failed for multiple days in a row. But Marvell showing some signs of life here today with a 3.5, much better than what you're seeing over there in Micron land. Yeah, Micron, it's weird. Like Micron's taking it on the chin probably when you look at that daily chart. And I think part of the reason why people don't see how badly that chart has looked is because Intel, the AMD's chart's not that great either, but it's because Intel's is so much worse that you don't necessarily, I guess people haven't noticed as much that really compared to NVIDIA, and AMD's and Micron's charts, those haven't looked good for quite a while. They've been nasty. So Peloton's working back toward its low of the day. Nike still seeming like, it kind of psyched me out with that green candle. It's trying to head back lower as well. So Nike's still heading back into the downside, still bleeding to the lows. I think it's a short till it's not. On Nike, Peloton, I have another bid in front of the low of the day. This one, as long as it closes underneath the 200 period moving average, I think this can be a continuation back into the 50 as well. Like this 370 is the 50-period moving average. Clearly, you've broken a bit of a shelf. So first look would be to continue a short tomorrow. And Nike, I think, is the same thing as well. Like, it's just trend down. Now that you've broken this floor, the 50 period's at 76.80 or so, or like 75, whatever that is. So you still have a few dollars to go on Nike. Unfortunately, you know, Nike, it looked like it was breaking out. And I'll be the first person to tell you, like, when it held this, I'm like, okay, give a consolidation off this level. Once you make a top, retest, break high is a long setup into the 200-period moving average. I drew a nice fancy line in case Nike did that, and it promptly decided it wanted to lose the support and trend back lower. So, you know, it was setting up for what I thought was like a long break, because I looked at Starbucks, I'm like, well, Starbucks is doing the break. Why can't Nike do this breakdown here as well? Unfortunately, not happening for Nike, as it is going lower and lower and lower. It's just doing it the wrong way.
All right. You know what? Apple might have topped out. Like, I mean, I'd hope that we'd be able to get it right here at 218 80s, which is where we've already had that fill at 70s. That's where I'm waiting again. I'm actually waiting at 218.80. So I was trying to get like even higher than our very last tick. So we actually have an out at 70. We might have to just put it back into there. I might just put one at 60 actually for now. So if it just sort of drifts back up there, we can get that fill. And then we'll worry about that 219 a little bit later. Let's just put a 219 even fill in right now. See if we're able to get that one. Hopefully we do. I'm almost thinking about just drop. Well, it was always going to come out at 217 anyways. So here it comes right back in. A nice fade back in. Let's go Sox L, baby. This is kind of a net game for us right here. But Apple does fall back in. We still have about half of that position on. So not great. But we will try to reload this at the 50 period. I'm very hesitant to do anything on the long side. I really just like this trade because of the setup that we had getting. And I just tweeted it out too. Make sure you go follow at Trader TV, Sean, and all of us. But right there, 218.25. Like, I just like the break higher. We did good on it. We got 40 cents there on the top, and we're only going to give this back into here anyways. A break of 218. So didn't really go. I thought we could go more. The futures kind of gave us that tell that maybe we didn't want to do anything. So hopefully it does, and we'll get out another piece there if it comes back up into the 60s. But more of a reload coming at 218 flat. So that will be a spot for me to look at, 218 flat coming in on Apple. So that will be a reloaded spot there. Now just looking, a lot of people talk about energy, and the name that I'm in here is XLE. I'm much more, there's a Canadian one as well that I'm in. It tracks the same. It's just in Canadian dollars. There isn't like a CDR for XLE, but there's so many ETFs. So it's very, very similar. Oil services here. This is a select sector spider fund. Look, bouncing off VWAP up 1.2%. It's fallen back in, and if we let this load up here, you are, you know, at a level where I could see some kind of a hold into here for $85, $86. We do get a nice little bounce up. But we had 4 or 5 straight down days. So we've had a lot of traders on here talk about energy and you know what their thoughts were about the space, and everyone likes it. So I think it's there. I don't want to be like herd mentality or anything, but energy is not going anywhere, and I think it's a decent way to sort of hedge some of your portfolio, especially if you are a little bit overexposed to tech. You know, this has come down probably worse than tech over the last couple of days, you know, down $5 off 90. But at the end of the day, you know, these names could be bought up. You have Occidental, you have XLF,
you didn't see on Friday?
Chevron. No.
So for the first time, at least, well, it's not the first time ever, because Oxy's been under $55 before. Right. It's just since I've been taking part in buying it in front of 55 and bouncing, this is the first time I slapped the L on it. I had like 50, I want to say it was like 56 change or something like that was my price, but it lost to 54 levels. I was mentioning this in the aftermarket show, at least I think I was in the chat with somebody mentioning it, lost that 54 level. So for the first time I got out of that, which had been a swing trade for me like multiple times for an L. And my intention is to put the capital that was going towards it into like an energy bounce, but just not in this. Not at all. And usually for me, it's CVX, but then I look at Chevron, if you're not familiar. But then I look over at Chevron when this daily chart loads up. Load. And Chevron lost its support level at 141 as well. Now, okay, now it's at 141, but on Friday it lost to 141. There you go. It lost to 141, and now it's trying to regain it. I'm like, well, that's at the bottom. It's like, maybe that's not the one I want. So I might just go, there's a couple of ETFs I have that have a bunch of energy in Canada. It's going to be that XLE, or XOM is just so much stronger. Like, look at XOM, back at the 50 period, already bouncing. I think that might be the place. I was surprised to see Chevron that far down. Like, it lost that big support. Oxy lost that support. Maybe Buffett's not buying any until it goes much lower. We'll find out. Next quarter, we'll probably find out that he was not buying anymore. Who knows? But he's bought pretty much every single quarter.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to see what's going on right there. But I mean, really, if you just find out what we're buying over here, then hopefully you're able to make a little bit of cash on that as well. I see Neil still in Piton. We're in Apple. Apple right now, I mean, a completely different beast. Like, this is now 40 cents in the money. It just ripped up. We got that fill. We were waiting at 58, so we get that, obviously, as that comes in right into there. We talked about losing our patience up here at 70. Well, there it comes right now, 70s coming in for Apple. And again, like, hit the subscribe. I planned this trade out when we were down here at 217.50. We planned this trade out, and we take it, and then it goes boom, right? So it's just one of those trades, again, that started to work out for us, and we're going to try to hold it. I tweeted out that the target was 219. That's where VWAP is. So I'm sitting there at 219, but I'm actually going to go over to like 218, maybe, I don't know, 80s. I don't need to be part of all this. If it stops at VWAP, great. But honestly, to miss the trade by 10 cents, nah, not at this time of day. It's 325. We have those imbalances coming out right now. We could be, I don't know, P&L wise, we're having exactly our best day this month. Probably not, but it's going to be a really good one today.
Palantir's an early look buy, big.
Palantir is just what a monster this name was today, man. I mean, this would be a reason to look at your 401k or whatever plan you had. Palantir stuff in, because it is a nice move right there for PLTR, up that 14%. And again, like, we knew it was going to happen. It wasn't rocket science at all that this was going to be added. We kept talking about it. We were loading the boat up. We talked about buying this name at prices way lower than this, but really happy to see that. There goes our SOXL. And again, like I said, man, again, the number 3 now traded, even getting out right here, right? Still, number 3 right there by P&L goes SOXL. And then number 4 will be Apple. And there goes Apple right now to the upside again as well. So keeps on trekking higher and higher and higher. Now for Apple, we just put that on. There's the break of 218.20 up there into VWAP, 218.90. Let's go Apple and see what we can do with this name. Starting to go higher.
KC, your hipster Ohio kid, called it. That is Andrew Rader, who was...
Called what?
Palantir. Well, a lot of people have said Palantir. Like, let's put it this way. Like, it was last year, they got eligible last year in the last quarter. And I mean, on this desk, pretty much everyone's like, oh, Palantir is going to get it, but you never really know. They have to have someone to come out at the end of the day. So, like, you go into the line, and it is what it is. So it's really, to me, about what happens from here to there, and we'll see what happens. Palantir is an early look buy and balance. So it was a buy and balance this morning of 1.9 million, and it went. It's a buy and balance right now for the close of 1.5 million anticipated. So this is likely to update a few times. We'll see if it comes out bigger than that. Maybe there's going to be a bit of a trade. Obviously, it does a lot of volume today. CCL is 1.3 million. I haven't looked at CCL today, but those two, I guess, stand out a little bit. Fubo is a $4 stock last I checked, so probably not mattering too much. But certainly Palantir, that's worth a look. If it comes out of a couple million shares on an imbalance, you're going to care about it. So Piton reloaded it. It got up the first time. We got 32s. It hit the low of the day. This time it got to 37s. I'm short 34 with a 37 stop. That was morning low, and then it just wicked the exact same price. It breaks that, I'm getting out, and we'll play back into the low of the day. So Nike to Peloton. By the way, Nike's still going higher, so I think it was probably a good decision to get away from that Nike trade. Like, it's continuing to bounce. So when it put in that first 15-minute green candle, that was kind of the reason for me to get out. It's like, well, if every single consecutive candle is a 15-minute is a short, then until that stops happening, just find short setups. And when it stopped happening, that ended up being the last short setup. You can't know. I kind of hoped that it would continue doing it, and you continue to go short. That was a flat bottom break on Nike off previous lows. It just continued to go and go and go. Sometimes you can be late to the party, but still be okay as long as you're with that trend. And it never really broke the trend till now. I would not reshort this name going into the close.
Nah, wrong one. Okay. Neil, we're now $1 off the call that we made there on Apple. Yeah, so there it is. Thank you for that one, Fabian. On that one, it is not quite sector watch, but there it goes. It's $1 in the money there for Apple. So, yeah, man. So far, so good. Of course, shout out to our good friend Raider Trader, who should be on this Friday again. So that should be really fun. Having him on the recap show. But again, you know, I mean, here's the trade. You know, we sit here in whatever trades you guys want to be in, right? Apple, you got to look for names that have catalysts. I don't even know what else to tell you guys because Neil, there it is right there. It just keeps on going. Apple, we tweeted this one out minutes ago. Now the run is on. It's Apple and it's fantastic. Continuously going up, up, and away. What's up? I like that name. What's up, Fluffy Hippo? What's up, my guy?
Fluffy was making some moves.
Yeah, man. I mean, Neil, we're the one. We're making respect over here. We're making some moves over here on Apple. So 219.50. There it goes, man. $1.30 now in the money. Yeah, so it just keeps on going, man. We got reloaded. We take that trade. We blasted through right there. And I said Palantir was your trade of the day. It probably is. But this one, I mean, this is much more aggressive than Palantir, man. I mean, this has gone now $1 in 20 minutes. There for Apple. So let's go. The market's starting to get heated up. We dumped our shorts. We're in the long, and it's going. So thank you so much, Josh, and everybody else for all the talk in there. We're just trying to keep it real. Real sees real. We always say that, and this is why I'm saying it. Like, this is a real trade, man. 219 long on Apple. There it goes.
Now, I'll tell you what's not bouncing, though. I thought everything was making a bounce in there. Everything that looked weak to me was trying to go up, but Alphabet just made another low of the day. Yikes. The stock's in trouble, man. And that's on Friday, there were all kinds of questions about, hey, Neil, when you buy an Apple, when are you buying Google? Because I said I was going to buy some dips in it, but not until it shows me something different. This stock is it's not healthy. Like, look at the NASDAQ right now. Like, it's so far disconnected that you had the down move fine, but now you have higher lows and you're breaking it back out. And pretty much as it's consolidated and breaking up on the NASDAQ, you're breaking down in Alphabet. So I think the mistake this afternoon was probably not taking the flat bottom break here on Google for me, or even just the 148 low. Although I said last week, I don't generally love taking low of the day breaks when the market is bouncing higher on a Mag 7 name. But yeah, you can probably just short this one until the cows come home. The way that this is moving out, it looks very, very nasty. But all you can do is try to look for it. We had it twice. Should have had it a third time. No question about it. As it's getting awfully, awfully nasty for Google. The market continues to bleed to that upside. I'm going to have my eyeballs on Palantir because as long as it can hold out for that buy imbalance and the market wants to go higher, I feel like this is going to be a decent shot. It's at the high of the day. This comes out and it ends up being a big buy. It's essentially giving you a tight consolidation up here on PLTR. Let's go to Adara at the screen for Sector Watch.
We're taking a look at some of the larger movers on the day, and some of these names are going to be names we've talked about, but maybe the catalyst we haven't reviewed in a little while, starting here with Boeing. This one here staying strong with regards to this tentative deal here with its workers unit. There was there was a strike set to happen September 13th. The strike potentially delayed, so BA moving higher as a result of that. Moderna, this name does have about 6.5% short float, but mRNA also moving higher here after its Canadian factory in Quebec received a drug establishment license from Health Canada, meaning that it will be able to start producing its mRNA vaccine at that facility. So good look here for mRNA. And last but not least, here we have TSLA, Tesla. We have discussed this one, but just a reminder here, Catalyst involves one of its suppliers here, Panasonic, completing its preparations for mass production of high-capacity EV batteries. Also worth noting, Tesla had its best month for August China exports best month for China exports here in August for the year 2024. So TSLA moving higher on that, guys.
Nice, Tesla. All right, so we don't have to keep hitting stuff all the time. You guys can see this is now $2 in the money. I mean, Apple just keeps on going. Upside, 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 just to top off the day. It's been a great run for Apple there. I feel like we're getting probably pretty top heavy. we still have, it's too bad that we didn't have the ultimate conviction with this trade. I mean, we didn't think it was going to get carried away like this, but it is. And again, Neil, on a 30-cent stop, we are now $2 in the money. So we put a 7-to-1 right on its head right there. So, I mean, there's one thing to have targets. There's another thing for it to actually come through. It's like, this is the thing. Like, I never, sure, this is great, you know, but that's why I don't use like R to R. Like, I don't say like my target 7-to-1. It's just when it starts going up, so I try to have something on. And this time we're actually, you know, size appropriate. We have about, you know, a little bit more than 10% on, probably about 15% on of our trade left. So that would make sense for 7-to-1 there. Divide that up into 100 and you're close enough. So 220, nice move upside right there, back into 221. Just continues to work out for us there on Apple. I mean, Tesla was $4 or $5 winner early. Palantir was multiple as well to the upside off that 32.50 long there on Palantir today. So it's been just a good day. I mean, the Tesla break was great too. That Tesla's 213. Those are 219s, man. That's $6. So, you know, have the ability to hold on to things and let them work out for you. And that's really what's, I mean, there goes Apple again. It's not even like, it's not rocket science. We weren't trading this name until this event was over. Once the event was over, we found a level and we nailed it. This is day trading. This is what you're supposed to do. Find opportunities, take them, put them in the bank, and that's what we've been doing there for Apple. So maybe a little bit of a pullback. We decided to get out 219.90, 219.50. I don't know, man, but something like that isn't that bad. So we'll stay there on AAPL and keep on going. And we've got on our good luck Palantir hat today as that name just continues to fly high. You know,
Keep on trucking.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about that one. Palantir just keeps on going to the high side. So again, congratulations anybody that's on this Apple trade, this Peloton trade, or anything we've been giving you guys.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about like APLD, and like there's like, don't get me wrong, like there's other names moving. This is a name that, look, I know I'm like 99% sure that Sharif was on this one, but when you look at something like this, I'll give you the reason why it wasn't necessarily, like I was hoping GameStop would do something because GameStop was at some fresh levels. This APLD is at previous levels that it really started to sell off at. And if you look at this at about $6.80, $6.87, it needs to clear the next level up. Otherwise, I think you're in a little bit of trouble. So you got to be careful punching highs. I know a lot of people are looking at this stock. Like my approach to it, we got a lot of questions about it, and I haven't really said too much about it. I wanted something that moved fresh, and I'll get to the two things that were in this afternoon in a second. But you're stair step to the upside in a very nice linear channel. And when you're 20 cents from that resistance at 680, it makes it tricky to look for a top end break. Like double top at 660, yeah, but you're 20 cents from 680, which puts it in a little bit of trouble if you're trying to get a decent, you know, risk to reward type trade on there. Like I want it to be able to go 720, 725. Otherwise, you got to try to find a way to buy some dips. So APLD is having a good day. There's no question about it. Didn't really get on my radar. We were looking at a lot of other things today. Now Peloton dropped, and you can see like there's the reason for getting into the trade. Flat bottom break, acceleration through, retested the lows. Now all of a sudden it's 337 and it's going sideways. So I went with a tighter stop in here. So if it breaks 37, we just get out for essentially like a 3.5 cent hit, depending on the fill we're able to get. But you can see it going sideways. Either it breaks, it's binary now. We break this shelf and we get down into the 20s again, or it just sits here and gives us the 3 cent out. And you know, the other thing you got to be able to consider is when to get out of Dodge or when a trade is no longer setting up. And like, you're like, oh, well, why not be short Nike again? Well, to me, it's made the bottom, shown you some juice to the upside, and maybe it's going to give you one more shot at a short. But the way I see it, like it gave you that move already. I think it could be a little bit trappish. I think the risk is back into the upside. It's back to 79.60, which is this previous low. It's just 340 right now with only about 10 minutes to go. And does feel like this market is starting to slow down a little bit here. But you know, I'm not going to reload back into Nike. I'm actually looking at Palantir. If Palantir is an early buy and comes out a sell, a pullback into VWAP makes some sense. It just cannot seem to break the top. It's a 1.5 million early look buy. And even as it presses into it, if that ends up being a sell imbalance, I mean, there's a lot of profit to be taken. And VWAP, I mean, really, VWAP's like 50, 60 cents away. If you can get a 5 cent risk trade and it's a sell imbalance instead of the buy that's being projected, I think there can be something there for Palantir. Let's go to Adair.
Be aware of Norfolk Southern here. This one up 2%, getting quite a bit of a volume increase as we head into the close here. CEO Alan Shaw is expected to step down here. There's a board investigation which was announced early this morning with regards to some inappropriate conduct. Now we have some reports here citing some sources that the CEO is now expected to step down as this investigation continues. So NSE getting some volume into the close on this report, guys.
Right here, wise words and excited for Toronto. Yeah, let us know in the chat or send me a message when you're in town, and we'll get some things scheduled for that. We've already talked about it, dinner and whatnot, so hopefully that time will be upon us soon. Adam, travel well, and yeah, watch out for those Air Canada delays that we were talking about earlier. I don't think you'll be having any troubles though. 221 there for Apple. I'm just debating maybe getting out. I mean, these $3 trades don't come too quick or too often, I guess. Well, I mean, today they're here, but this is just going to be a level right back into the pre-market highs again for Apple. I mean, that would be really nice. 221 and change. We already have this at 218. It's been a really, really big move today, and we just kind of trading what we're trading today. Apple, Amazon, NVIDIA. Let's have a look at that one again. 106.50. So a nice break into the day's high again for NVDA. 106, 106.50. Coming up, for some discussion anyways, if it breaks through that level. I'm very, very excited about, first of all, we reloaded up a little bit there anyways on NVIDIA over on Friday. So it's up a little bit today. It's up 3%. I have no plans on selling any of this. And just, I think on any sort of dips, we definitely want to be buying some more of that for myself. So again, not financial advice. All right, the SPY. I actually like SPXL. So let me go over to that one real quickly here. Should be on the Amex 141. Again, it's not the buying power that we have, is quite large and has M's in it. So we could buy SPY. It's just a matter of waiting to see what exactly we want to do. And right there, 141.50 could be a play on SPXL, just looking to see if there was something there. Google is the high of the day. But anyways, spiders, I just want to say, look at this. Whether or not we look at SPY or SPXL, I mean, they're going to look the same right there. Let's go like that. There it is. There's that top. So same name, same setup, different name. Again, one is 4 times the price than the other one. So you may want to look at SPXL instead if buying power was an issue. But 548, if buying power is an issue, obviously, check the link in our description. You could join many different prop firms around, as well as one right here, Real Trading. Go double check all of that in links in our description and on socials. 548, maybe we're still a ways there. I'm going to hold on to Apple. Again, we have 15% left. Let's let it ride, and see if we can get a nice take there on Apple back up to the upside. Did I see the consumer credit report? Not really. Todd, I don't. I heard Adara say it. I can't remember if it was higher or lower at this point. I trade off instinct, ability, and just gut feel, really. Those numbers are important to me, but if levels still break, then levels break. And we had planned this trade out for everybody today on Apple. So anybody sitting here in front of a terminal had this opportunity right there on Apple. It was a good take. This is where I was focused. It was minutes after the consumer credit report. So if that had something to do with it, giddy up. But right now, Apple nicely traded here to the upside. Breakthrough of 219 already happened, 220. We're now here right now. What about 219.80? We break back down below 219.80. Let's take this 7-to-1 risk to reward trade and get out, okay? So 219.79, we'll put the offer out. We'll do that. Now we'll just sit back, relax, and sip on our tea and get some of this water down the pipe here.
Yeah, I just finished mine. Got to stay hydrated all day, though. Thank Fluffy Hippo. Thank you very much for the super chat. Love the name in there. We appreciate you. No message attached. Just thank you for the super chat there. We appreciate you. But I'm going to go, you know what? There was, when the credit number happened, like you can try to put logic toward it. Like the Apple event was over and it went up. But I could tell you, like Nike went down and then up. So there's a name that would have respected. Peloton went down and stayed down. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter. It was double the number that was expected. So that's not necessarily going to be a good thing. But maybe you keep an eye on some retail names for some weakness. Like any retail name that showed some weakness today, look for that tomorrow. But if something didn't react the way you expect to an economic number, then you don't necessarily want to be in it. If it goes with your thesis and it just makes you like to trade more, that's all well and good. Tonight after the bell, we're going to have Michael Noss on after the bell. And I said Oracle's the only earnings out there. That's not technically true. Oracle's the only large cap name, obviously a few $100 billion. And it's a 7.5 expected move. There is this rubrics which could move around a bit. RBRK, which I'm going to assume rubric 8% short float. So sometimes things like that are going to move. It's got a 17% expected move. So there is at least something a little bit smaller. And we'll talk about both these names as long as you guys are into it. Definitely Oracle, no question about that. We'll get into some Oracle after the bell. Michael Noss, well, I think we'll talk a little bit about, I'd like to talk some crypto with him because the way this is looking, I would have liked to see a little bit more strength today. In crypto, I felt like it started really good. I would have liked it to hold up a little bit better than it did, but we'll see what his thoughts are. It's 345, and Piton is now still, like we're at 34, and this is 33. Like you can see, it's a shelf. If it doesn't break down, like at some point, I'm just going to tighten it up. Like if it breaks 35 now, I'll just get out instead of 37, because the initial move down, when the consumer credit hit, this broke downside, came back, tried to retest highs, and went back to the low of the day. And since then, it is just going sideways while the market has crept up. So if it doesn't move, which it hasn't for 15 minutes now, it's just gone 1 cent down in the last 15 minutes, then I'm going to tighten the stop up because this doesn't want to do anything. 4 minutes until the imbalances, just a guess, but I feel like Palantir, if something's going to have an imbalance, it's going to be Palantir, NVIDIA, or Apple. It's one of those three. And Palantir with an early look at 1.5 million to the buy side, so this is where I'll be. If it were to come out a sell after hinting at a buy, I would think a fade off the high of the day would make sense for Palantir. Like I said, lots of profit to be taken for Palantir. Sometimes they like to sell the news, although people tracking the index still got to buy it for the next probably couple of weeks now that it's official. It's the 23rd you got to worry about. Speaking of the 23rd, DJT has to worry about that date as well. Or
is that a DJ?
Well, it's the 20th and the 25th. The lockup expires on DJT. It's going to be a really big. You're going to have triple witching. It's September, right? So it's the end of the third quarter for index rebalances. You're going to have Palantir and Dell going into the S&P 500, and Etsy, and who else coming out? American Airlines coming out, and you're going to have the lockup expiration on DJT. This is not about the politics of it. It's just about what could happen if Trump decides to sell and other people trying to get out in front of that. I would expect that could be a bit of a move.
All right, 3:47, just 3 minutes away right now. That's it. We will end the bull ride on Apple and get out as it does fall right back in. So again, right there, in at 218.30s, roughly it was a 225 break. I think we got 29s. Out right there at 219.75 or 77. As it just dropped in, that's fine. We'll get in and get out there. I don't know what that little drop out there was about. So good trade there to end the day. And we'll be close to, well, we will be at our highest spot when I'm talking about all day. We are now flat. We are getting ready for this imbalance. I probably won't take anything else. 347.40 right now. Just waiting here. We have NYSE again. It's Palantir's on here twice because still left over from the morning. But right now, there's the bid right there for BRKR. That's our broker. So those are all the ones that you're going to try to look for. So Visa right now with a 2 million buy. That's going the other way. Visa is one of those funny ones. It kind of seems to be always on there. Fubo with a sell. Whoa, what the heck? Fubo's $1.
Fubo's
okay, so bye-bye Fubo. That Fubo is gonzo, I would think soon. Wow, look at that break right there on Fubo. Okay. You might want to write this down on your little iPad there, Neil. Fubo breaking 162 to the downside. That's going to be
really good.
One of those breaks
oh my goodness.
Right there. I mean, I trade support and resistance.
There's too many of these
That
tomorrow.
would be a good one there coming through. And then Walmart has been a great long. I mean, ever since that took split and then took that 180, which was $60. Nice upside move right there. I mean, Walmart cannot be stopped. I talked about this with Daniel Shea, of course, on Thursday as well. And wow, what a mover. Whoopsies, there's the split right there. But what a mover from that date. Walmart highs.
Can it just keep winning forever?
Yes, it can actually keep winning forever. I believe it will. Just like Costco. Costco's won forever, right? It's at all-time highs. All these stocks are at all-time highs. So literally to answer that question, I mean, I think it's yes.
Well, but it's just
those
outside of those two, who else is doing that good in retail? Nobody. It's just those two, I think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Target's numbers look like right now, but that is
it's
good.
Been on a run.
Amazon. As far as retail, Amazon's such a bigger business. than just that. Yeah, Macy's and all that. I mean, some of these guys have huge leverage. I think Nordstrom's, Abercrombie was ripping up for a while there. But yeah, man, Costco continues to work out with Walmart. So
Target's actually, see, this is the thing. That's why Walmart and Costco are so good. Target's pulling back into the 200-period moving average when the others are going higher. Target was up 130 to 160, and now you're dipping back in there. I wonder if Mr. Raider wants to reload that one. I think he's, whatever. It worked off the 130 level, but things that are losing that 50-period or 200-period kind of scare me a bit. Oh, yeah, I was writing that 162. There's a lot of flat bottom breaks that are set up for this week. It doesn't mean they're all going to go, but like, I mean, Target, you could almost throw in there. I saw someone saying Rivian wants that low. You better believe Rivian wants that low. I was tweeting this out, like 1270 for Rivian. It's at $13 right now. This could happen tomorrow. This could happen at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Imbalances just dropped. Okay, so NVIDIA 2.3 to buy. Palantir came out as expected, 1.5 million to buy. Siri, 5 million to the buy side on Siri. And Verizon, 2.7 million. Siri, 5 million to buy. Maybe Warren's doing some more buying into the auction here. He seems to really like that stock. But that's not a huge number on NVIDIA. 2 million is kind of in the under zone. I like it when it's a little bit closer to like 3, 4, 5 million even. But yeah, kind of a nothing burger for the imbalances. I thought Palantir comes out either a shock of a sell or flat or bigger than the 1.5. It's right in the middle. So Siri, that's probably not going to move it too much because it's a $2 stock. So when we look at these imbalances, try to remember the amount of shares can be impressive, but that's 6 million shares times $2.70. It's not notionally, $16 million is not a heck of a lot in terms of moving around a stock, whereas NVIDIA's 2 million into obviously a much more expensive name, and I'm calling it not that big. So unfortunately, I don't think there's anything on the imbalances that I'm going to like. Piton did break consolidation. So the first look good, second look, we got 34s and we're out 36. It just kept going sideways. Now it's coming back into the upside. So you can say whatever you want about the consumer credit number. There was a move down, but all the retail names I looked at, they had an initial move down and then they actually caught their bid after that. So they made the move down and then at 3 o'clock, this is 3 o'clock, and you get a bounce to the upside on most of these consumer names, or at least what you'd call them. Anything related to it kind of had already made the bottom, and they bought it right back up. You had to take your profit while you could.
Okay. Just to wrap this thing up, we're out of everything. Apple's trying to go a little bit higher. NVIDIA is failing off the high of the day again. Is that the high of the day even? Yeah, exactly, 106.20. So we made it back on everything. I mean, everything was great to have bought that bottom. Funny thing is, you look here, the very first thing I saw as a sell was Intel. And you could see right here, Intel continues to go down and just really continue to destroy. There was that funny thing about that one kid that put all of his inheritance into Intel, and then he's just crying. People on the chat would know it's a big story a couple quarters ago. There's some college kid, and he couldn't have picked a worse stock, man. I mean, Intel right now down to $19, $20. You should have bought the SOXL or something, right? SMH. But there it goes, the downside. Intel, nice move down. Starbucks again. That name that we talked about today, breaking through 92. It's nice that it made that move back up right to 92 again. So I feel like this will be borderline irresponsible. I like that, Bongzilla. That is right there. Just a trade to watch out for tomorrow. $92 on Starbucks. Again, like that level, came right back up to it. Actually missed it there. I know we were talking a little bit about it. Ford, again, another destructor of wealth. Ford down to 1070. Right now, you could have been woken up over the last 20 years, woke up now and thought you're in the same time zone, but time zone you would be. Tesla there for sure. Nice sell into the end of the day, but I really like this stock. Big time mover today for Tesla. Great opportunities to buy this 214.50 area. And again, number 2 trade of the day there, Tesla. Today, a big one. And then Micron, unfortunately, those sell side action does not stop. What a day it was for Micron today, down 0.5. Mara, I know this is going to be way ahead of that 14. Oh, not really. Okay, 1420. I saw Bitcoin there at 57,000. I thought this would be a lot higher. But there's that 1420 break that we had written down. Next time, we'll try to take it. I was gone. I don't ever want to execute against a position if I'm not here. But there it goes, Mara. Nice trade to the upside. Google remains sell side. This was the only sell that we had marked down on here, and it was a 152 sell, and that's right here, and we should have hit that. So that was my bad, irresponsible trading, not hitting that one. But the sticky note today, really gave us the shot in the arm that we needed. So we'll see if we can do something very, very similar tomorrow for everybody here on air. So yeah, man, Tesla, Palantir, SoxL, everything. Great trading today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw someone ask about this Halt trade. I was trying to figure it out, so I wanted to answer. Someone said Ride is moving. Not familiar with the company. It's over on the Amex, RYDE. But this looks like a low float runner for which I cannot find news since, the last story is August 13th. Obviously, it's doing some things since then. It's halted now, so it's clearly not going to open back up till 4 o'clock. But whatever it is, it's done 5 million shares, and it's a very, very low float of 11 million. It's almost churned half of that here today. It's not a short story, but it was doing absolutely nothing all day long. Sometimes you see like barcodes like this, and maybe Dara has a news here, but sometimes you see barcodes like this, and it's just like, okay, well, if it was running before and it makes a break off a barcode, it can be worth it. But yeah, good luck to anyone out in Ride. It's going to open up, it looks like, at 4 o'clock. It's just a volatility halt. Dara?
I have some details here on Ride. It is a bit of a smaller float here, 9.49 million shares, market cap here of just under $362 million. 0.5% short float, so not a significant short float, but a float again here of 9.5 million shares for RYDE, guys.
No, like I haven't seen this thing before, and what's weird about it is usually I'm expecting more people to be talking about this in the chat when something goes up like 4 days in a row like this. But thank you, Adair. As I said, it's not going to open up till 4 o'clock, which means pretty much nothing there at all. Remember, we got Oracle after the bell, just shortly after the bell. I think it's about 5 minutes or so. We're going to get Oracle earnings, one of the last big cap tech names. It's been on a tear like a lot of things, but when you look at it, you got to hold that 50 period here on the daily. If we lose that on Oracle, they've been punishing a lot of earnings names regardless of how they report. We saw that with Broadcom. We saw that with NVIDIA. And Oracle, if it suffers the same fate, like you're pretty much adjacent to the 52-week highs. Anyways, a 7.5 expected move. When you have that kind of a move, it would be breaking these highs if that were to the upside, which makes it a little bit more tricky. To the downside, there's plenty of room. So 7.5 is nothing on the way back in. I'm going to mosey on up to the desk. We're going to have Michael Noss, we'll have Oracle earnings, and then we'll look to see what else you guys want to talk about here. Lots to talk about and lots moving around here on a Monday to start this week, and a lot of flat bottom breaks that are setting up for tomorrow, I hate to say. But hey, trade the trade. For a market up 1%, I'm surprised there are so many flat bottom breaks for tomorrow that are setting up.
Yeah, well, I was just putting it down here about this Apple trade, and I said, I guess we got out a little too early on Apple, as there it goes, nicely cooking up 250 right there for AAPL as it continues to go. We'll take the $2 and run, but that was a nice move there. Now 220.70, the $1.50. Nice move upside as Apple there closing on the highs. So I hope some of you were able to take that one with only 3 minutes left. We can have a quick look at these imbalances one more time. Just to see what is available and what is not. There's Verizon with a nice bid. We have Visa as well coming in again. Wow, Verizon. I mean, some of these names, Verizon and AT&T, I mean, some of these names are starting to look real good. As I don't think you should ever chase yield. Sometimes people will think that that's a good thing. We talked about TELUS the other day with Raheem Alani from OCI back on the show. And it's just like, when I realized that TELUS was like 8% or something dividend, maybe that's easy, but it wiped out one day. You got to make sure that you like the story there. And for AT&T, it continues to make moves higher and higher. So Palantir, and what was a great trade today. I hope some of you had this long. Oh, and I looked it up, and I'm still in Oracle. I don't have as much as I thought. I have about 4 or 5 grand in this name, but I did look. We're up 30+% on Oracle, and yeah, so we're actually long. We're actually long even low. We're long in like I think it was 107, whatever. My thing said 38% or something on this name all the way to the top side. We could lose it today for sure. I'm not going to get out of it. It was always just to build up some longer term positions, and so we have that small piece on Oracle, obviously, but nice move up. Trying to hold that 50 period. We'll see if Oracle can do that. I apologize for my voice. I was yelling at hockey all weekend, yelling at baseball all yesterday, and then just outside and having a great time with family. Went on this huge bike ride last night with my daughter. That was a lot of fun as well. And then just talking all day again. So I feel fine. Just my throat in here today, a little sore. Wow, big time moves here into the close for everything. NVIDIA, goodbye on Friday. I think any dip buy opportunities are going to come from me and NVIDIA. Apple with the nice move. Palantir going to go out on highs, it looks like, right now as well. What a day, what a day. It's about to get better as we have the recap show coming out in just a couple minutes with Neil. So now with only 15 seconds left, we'll have Adara on the ones and on the bell over there. Thank you to Ramin and Fabian as well. The countdown is now on with only 10 seconds left. There we go. TAN looks like it's down 2.18%. That might be one of the only sectors that's red today. 3, 2, 1. There we go. The market is now closed. Thank you, Adara. Little early on that one. Okay, then my thing is off on that one there. But there it goes. Thank you to everybody one more time for the show. It's a good one. It's going to be even a better one tomorrow, and it's about to get good right now. One more time with Neil and the recap show. Is he ready to go? All right. Needs more time. Okay, we can stretch it out then. All right. Yeah, we're just waiting here. Oracle, I believe, is now out. So here comes Oracle right now, 141, nice move up to 144. There goes Oracle right now. You know, if I have any news on this one, I'll tell you about it. But right now, Oracle, nice move up. Give us a second and we'll see 144 and change. Talking about some databases and whatnot. I do have the Benzinga Pro platform right here, right now, ready to go. So let me just zoom this back in. I don't have the numbers yet. MindMed right now announcing some stuff. But right now, Oracle, probably not out. That could have been a fat finger. Did seem like a nice move, and I did hear some news in my ear about that. What was that, Fabian? We're good to go. Okay, so soon Oracle out, if not already. Let's go over to Neil and find out more about ORCLC, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to the aftermarket show. Oracle, the numbers do not look like they're out yet, but there was a story that dropped on Oracle. So Oracle and AWS launch Oracle Database, enabling access to Oracle's autonomous database with AWS, enhances cloud migration, agility, and security for enterprise workloads while offering unified support and seamless integration with AWS. So that's the move on Oracle. We're expecting earnings at 405, so we weren't expecting to get them right away, but the move appears to be in reaction to this AWS partnership for Oracle. So you see the move, went 140 into 144. Got to be careful trading aftermarket when you're looking at anything that's going to be reporting, because the numbers can drop and then all of a sudden you could be caught a little bit off guard. So we are expecting them at 405, expecting about 13.2 bill in revenue, 1.33 is the EPS. The implied move is 13%. So obviously that move that we just saw, about 3%, 140 into 144, right back on that AWS report, not necessarily moving the needle. Oracle right back in here and finding a little bit of selling coming out. I think it could just be a symptom of, hey, people hit the bid, sort of hit the offer when it started going up, anticipating that the earnings were out, and they are not out just yet. That rubric is out. It's probably going to move around a little bit. It's not a very big name rubric, but my eyeballs are going to be on Oracle. It was a pretty interesting day overall in the market, because you had like a little V-shape action as we wait around for Oracle. You had a little bit of V-shape action off of the open. Like there's your V, and we end up right back at the top. The NASDAQ closing up 1.3 today. Yeah, you had the SPYs up 1.1. SMH does a couple of points into the upside. What took it on the chin, however, before we get to UNH, shout out to MSOS. So good news for all the cannabis names out there is they are finding a bid, because the anticipation is you're getting some endorsement from the Republican, Trump, and the debate's on Tuesday. I mean, the debate is tomorrow, and you're finally getting a little something. MSOS up 11 points today and looking like it wants to go. We're going to talk about the Widowmaker when Michael Noss comes on, but you can see what happened to UNG, down 5 points today, and TAN, not a very good day either. But it is the Oracle story. They're the big ones. Still no numbers yet. But as we wait for them to come through, do want to respect the fact that, hey, the initial move, and I'm not saying it's going up or down from here, but when they announced the AWS thing, I feel like some people might have taken some longs. And if they were to have anything bad, we saw what happened with AVGO, Broadcom. Most recently, we saw what happened with NVIDIA. Like you can have that beat, but then one thing is wrong, like one little kink in the armor, whatever you want to call it, and then suddenly they decide to sell it off. That's been the market that we've been in recently, and with that initial buying on Oracle, I would be at least a little bit worried of that. Just coming through, still nothing on Oracle, but also an announcement here from Oracle saying Oracle and Google have announced the general availability of Oracle database. So an announcement from Amazon and AWS, and then another one here from Google. Still no actual earnings. There's a story about Hims and Hers doing a shelf offering. That doesn't sound very good, but we should be coming out any second now. Now you're starting to head lower. This would have been the fear that a lot of people might have gone long early on, and now it's already starting to come back into the downside. I'm still not seeing anything on Oracle. Just another repeat of that Google story, Oracle and Google Cloud announcing a partnership, but clearly it must have come out because they're the downside. I'm still keeping ear to the ground on Benzinga here as we haven't got the numbers, but it's right down to 136, right back into 142, looking like it's a bit of an inside move. You're expecting 13 points. You've essentially gotten nothing here on Oracle, where it's only to the downside, maybe $2 at the most as we're currently looking at this one. Yeah, give it some time. I mean, the numbers are going to churn through, and we'll see what happens with Oracle. Not a heck of a lot going on here. Do want to make sure that we're going back to that other end. We did say that our BRK was reporting. They're starting to move around a little bit, but now Oracle is going to the upside. So 144, I'm still not seeing anything on the numbers, but wow, it just rocketed to the upside. They're liking something. We're now 144 as Oracle is looking like it's trying to take the top off here. You got to keep things into context. So we were talking about this right before we came to the big desk, is you've got 52-week highs right here at 146.5. So it does look like you're running right into some overhead resistance over here on Oracle, as they clearly like what's going on around here. I still haven't seen anything. I see a few people in the chat. Appreciate you putting the numbers through. I don't have it. Here we go. Finally, 20% increase on earnings. Then non-GAAP is 17% increase. Revenue at 13.3. That's a beat versus 13.2. Cloud revenue is up 21%, 5.6 billion. Let's see what else we got going on here. We're going to have a number. Infrastructure 2.2. That's a 45% increase. 10% up on application. Fusion 16%. NetSuite Cloud 20% growth. Still looking to see if we get some numbers when it comes to the guidance, though, because it's all about the guide. You're only up 3 points here. Like, you're not exactly flying through on Oracle last I checked, and we're still seeing the same overhead resistance on the daily. I think the guide's going to be key when we start to get some of those numbers. The breakdown, it all looks good, but who isn't beating? When 80% of technology companies are beating, it's not enough to just beat. You got to beat big. You got to beat big, and you got to guide big. And if you don't do that, then they're not going to be in love with you. And I want to see how this reacts. We saw Marvell also do a nasty reversal after even holding some highs. So we'd like to see what Oracle can do with that guidance. It's still good numbers. There's no question about it. The top and the bottom look good for Oracle. But without the guidance, I'm not convinced. You're expecting 13% and you get 3? That's some disappointment for me. With Oracle. We'll keep our eyes on it. And as I mentioned, there was the shelf offering on HIMS. And yeah, not looking good, Farm Trader. HIMS did drop. It's not a huge move. They were green into red, but there was news on HIMS with a big shelf offering. And unfortunately, heading into the downside is HIMS. So Oracle, the big one, still want to have some guidance numbers come out here. But I'm disappointed here. I would have thought, you know, if you're going to go, you needed to break 146. That's the 52-week high. To run into that and essentially stop dead, like, it's not going up, it's not going down, we're just going sideways on Oracle, not punching through this 146 level, which is a little bit disappointing when you got a beat like they did. So pretty solid numbers across the board for Oracle. Again, like I said, I'm disappointed. I know we're going to have Michael Noss on there. And there's been something looming on this that you guys can all see right in here. And we're going to talk about the Widowmaker because we've been mentioning the Widowmaker the last couple of days. And I know that's going to be a big one. But now Oracle punches through 146. That's more like it. You're now through the 146 level. That's the big level on the daily. It needs to go. Just to quickly show you, we can do this over here. We can go from the daily chart to the 1 minute back and forth here on Trade Ideas. But you've now held above the 52-week high in Oracle. You're still only 4% to the upside. You need to do a heck of a lot better than that. And the worst possible scenario, in my opinion, would be hold the gap, have the guide be poor, and then we come in tomorrow back underneath 146. Trapping longs above 146 would be a scary thing. For sure. I see you in the chat. For profit, we need a widow trader. Yeah, I don't know if you want a widow trader. But we can talk about the Widowmaker. Look at today. Look at UNG today. 6% to the downside. And we've said this before, and I'll say it again. Natural gas, the trend is your friend to the end when it bends. And the good thing about trading is you can look for like a rounded bottom and a breakout, but you know what? If it never actually breakouts, you don't have to trade it. And I can tell you this one's trying to go, but look at it, respect that 50 period, which it hadn't always done. The 50 period has been a suggestion for most of this time. The 50 period is a very clear resistance line, but it does look like a spicy one. Before we get to Michael, I'm going to give one last check back in on Oracle just to see, still holding above 146. I think it's pretty plain to see everybody here. You know, if you can't, sometimes you'll look at a chart and it's like, what's the key price level on the chart? And we'll sit there analyzing like multi-period time frames. And other times you pull up a daily chart and it's got a triple top at a 52-week high, and then you know exactly where to look. It's over-under for Oracle. If it's over, it's good. If it's under, we're in trouble. With this only up 3-4%, expecting 13, if it doesn't hold on to 146 tomorrow, in my opinion, Oracle's a short. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, you know what time it is around here. It's time for us to get to Mr. Noss and Mr. Michael Noss from Trade Ideas. Welcome, first of all. Good look. I see you're comfortable, got the lumberjack on, you're chilling out, you got a smile on your face. How was the day today for you?
Yeah, it's that time of year. It's time to bring back out the plaid. You know, some leaves are falling and everything, but it's fantastic. And didn't end up doing anything today. So I think maybe that's why I'm smiling and so relaxed, is I had no trades on, so I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen tomorrow.
You know what? And that's part of, and I said this with regards to UNG, like anything. Like when you're looking at technicals, when you're looking at a breakout or looking at a trend reversal, the best thing about trading is you're not obligated. Just because you're looking at something making a bottoming pattern or making a top, like I just said, Oracle looks like it's making a bit of a top if it can't hold 146. Well, if tomorrow it's at 155, I don't have to short it. And if UNG is still underneath this 50, can't seem to break out the top, there's no long breakout either. There's nothing that's showing you that trend reversal. But let me ask you a question, because as a day trader, this is a common thing, right? Now, when you're a swing trader, it's all well and good to take a day off. Nothing sets up, I don't take anything. Now, as a day trader, and depending on your style, every day trader is different. I've known day traders that will not make any trades during a day. It depends on your style. But I can tell you, when you have volatility go and not a lot of things set up for you, it can be frustrating. You get that urge to put a trade on. Now, it's the beginning of a new quarter. Clearly, there's a lot of things at pretty interesting levels. The S&P is breaking down. Like you said, you've been looking at this UNG. How do you deal with, hey, it's the start of a fresh week and there's so much happening. There is volatility today, but I have nothing put on. Like, what's your secret sauce for not getting any FOMO?
I am just very systematic. I'm very, very rules-based. So yeah, you see the UNG on the screen. For those who missed it, I was on this morning saying, at this time, I was looking at Friday's candles when I did my analysis kind of up here, showing that, hey, it looks like we were kind of breaking this $14 area. And one thing I love about trading in general, or, Trade Ideas especially, is that I can build a plan around it. So my synopsis was that we could get this kind of fake out under 14. If we go back on the chart, I had this great trade at 14 back here that, I was 14 to like 20 or 15 to 20 was a great little trade. So I put on one of my new favorite indicators. We have a trade ideas we call Trade Wave here on the 30-minute chart. And essentially what this will just do is it will just put a buy or a sell ticket when the moving averages are pointing up and price is above the moving average. So I just kind of reserved myself to all of the ideas I had. I was going to use this 30-minute chart and wait for some sort of buy signal to come in. You can see all day this thing just kind of sold off. So I was working on other stuff. Every hour or so, I would look at my screen, see if there was a little buy ticket up there, if we were trending higher. That was my plan to take it. Nothing happened, so I don't do anything. So I think, to broadly answer your question, for me, the way I've dealt with this as someone who had chronic and still fights chronic over trading issues, I have a plan written out for every situation, every trade I want to get in. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And then before I allow myself to hit that button, I have to go through that checklist and say, is it meeting all of these criteria? So UNG, for example, it met, I still like the chart. And if this thing can get back up over this 14 fairly quickly and start to play ball, I'll still get involved. But it's just having that very, set in stone criteria of I will buy UNG if it does this, and then just kind of detaching myself until that happens.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And I think it's the answer that I would give as a day trader as well. Like, we'll sit there often at the open 9:30 to 9:30 to 9:35, 9:40, like that first 5 or 10 minutes when all what is breaking loose. Like, there's so much price movement. Like, relative to any other time of the day, you're going to get much more velocity and moves because there's not as much liquidity. It's very easy. If stock's not at your level, you just got to wait. And you'll, every now and then, for everyone that's watching in our community, like, you might even hear me say live on the show, I've said things to myself. I'll be sitting there, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, or wait for it to get there. Wait. In a strong market, if you're looking for a fade at a key price level, if it's strong, let it get there. And if you're expecting a trend in a stock, I'm like, don't chase, you're going to get your chance for a dip buy at some point. Now, speaking of chasing things, this is my segue into, there was a bit of a bounce back in crypto, right? So,
yes,
over the weekend, you had essentially a failure of the 55,000 level, got down to, 53-ish. I mean, adjacent, the biggest even level was 53 that held. You recovered 55, and we ended up trending up. This ended up being really good for some of the names like Amara, which hadn't had a green day in 2 weeks. And then today, you got it on what was look at it on the daily chart. Like, you can see clear support just in and around like the 13.5 to 14 area. And then Friday's low of 13.5 ends up holding really well. And to my point of don't chase, if something is going to trend up, now this was it was a dip in the pre-market lows. There's a lot of ways you could play this. It was a breakout. Then technically, you had a resistance from the opening range in the first 15 minutes, turned into a support level, and then it just trended up higher and higher. But I know you've been looking at crypto, Michael. What do you think's next here? Because yes, I was telling this to Sean like in the afternoon. Like, I felt like, okay, we're going all that way, and then we just kind of didn't do much off the top in the afternoon. Sometimes you end up squeezing a little bit more than that, whether you're looking at BTC or whether you're looking at Mara. But overall, I still feel like we haven't really broken back out to maybe retest some bigger resistance levels. Do you still like looking at crypto? Is there anything setting up for you? I'm just going to be looking at Mara again tomorrow, looking for some continuation myself.
Yeah, I have MicroStrategy up here as kind of my proxy until we get more data into the Bitcoin ETFs. And I have it here on a monthly chart. I just want to show that Bitcoin is, yes, very volatile, and it has this history. And if you don't look at the chart and you're just following the people on Twitter and everything, You would think that it moves all of the time, but I read a study out there that if you miss the 10 best weeks in crypto, you're essentially flat. Just basically saying that all of the returns in crypto are very, very centered around certain key moments. And I want to kind of draw everyone's attention to this area right here, where it's looking a lot like what we had here. Not saying that we're going to drop the way we did before, but this high volatility range. And again, this is a monthly chart. So each of these candles is a lot of weight, but you can see this just incredibly choppy action that went on for years. And then when we made this low, we had this incredibly choppy action that just went on for years. So what I'm always reminding myself with crypto is that we don't need to move higher and we don't need to move lower. We could be in this incredibly choppy action for a long period of time. And I've been talking a lot about the election seasonality and how I'm not expecting any sort of sustained trends until November. So I'm treating crypto the same way. It's okay to take nibbles and short-term trades, but for me, it's kind of a wake me up when we close at all-time highs, and I will look to start entering trends then. Until then, I think we're just going to be range bound, and as a more of a trend trader and a swing trader, the environments that cost me money are not when I buy something and it enters a downtrend because I'm out really quickly. The environments that cost me money are high volatility chop. That's why I'm so concerned with spotting it when I think it's going to happen and avoiding it. I think we could be in for one of those where Bitcoin doesn't move higher, Bitcoin doesn't move lower. We just kind of chop around in this environment for an extended period of time. So I'm kind of hands off crypto until I get a clear breakdown or a clear breakout. And so far, I've just kind of seen fake outs in both directions.
Yeah, and well, to your point there, it always depends on what you're looking for, right? So, you don't like that chop up, but I'm sure there's probably a few other traders out there that might actually say, hey, look at that range. If we're just going to sit there inside of that chop, maybe I can play inside of that chop. Now, the caveat that I would give is to remember that Bitcoin's a 24-hour market, and a lot of times, and this is just true, and if you're going to trade this, a lot of times this is true, the best dips and tests off of some of those, like the support level, the chop bottom, or the chop top, they can happen over the weekend. And I so many times it's like, oh, well, if you are looking at nothing against MSTR, but if you are looking at MSTR or like one of the miners, and that's your proxy for playing it, now you might miss that bounce because you have to wait around for it to be Monday to Friday, 8:30 to whenever, whatever your broker is going to allow you to trade. Whereas a lot of people that are trading Bitcoin itself, they're going to capture some of those moves. Can I ask you? I don't know if you've been looking at some of the cannabis names, Michael, but in light of the fact that we're in election season, right? I think everyone understands that, and you're up 11% on MSOS. Now, let me get away from the monthly chart because we were just talking about a monthly on MSTR. Let me throw up a daily chart of MSOS, because I feel like this has to be getting a little bit interesting. Now, I can draw you, if you're into that sort of a thing, like I can sit here and maybe draw you some trend lines for anyone that's into it, like, I don't know, like something like that. And, you can see it, like it's already bounced a couple of times off the bottom, but really it's a much more, like even if you just connect those highs in here, I feel like it's a little bit more subtle off the top, but what you're getting at is a potential, it's not there yet, a potential channel break. You got the debate tomorrow. I mean, Republicans might be supporting some legalizations. We kind of know where the Democrats stand. Is there a trade here, Michael, on MSOS or any of the cannabis names?
I love the relative strength today of MSOS. The problem I have when I look at any of these charts, and I actually have Tilray up here because I think it's the best example. Let's go out to a monthly chart. Right, this thing was a $300 stock that's now $1 and barely hanging on to not being delisted. Anytime I see a chart like this, I know there's so many bag holders inside of this name that any pop you get, you're going to get some sort of, someone who's like, oh, I'm finally back to even. It's time to get out of my position. So I do worry about that. And I think the best way to deal with that is you brought up MSOS, but if you actually go MSOX, there's a 2-time ETF that is kind of interesting here to me. And this, again, when you're playing these double leverage ETFs, they have to be short-term trades because they have a natural drift lower. That will just always be the case based off of the derivatives that are used to comprise them. But I do like the look that you just kind of mentioned with that channel, and I was actually watching that today. You can see it's the biggest ETF on my screener up today. So I am watching that. I do like the gap. I am watching for some continuation on it. But instead of what I normally do, which is look at the sector and then try to find strength within that sector, I think I'm just going to play the double leverage, because part of the problem is a lot of these ETF or a lot of these stocks are still pink sheets, and they're still under these really kind of sketchy, unregulated exchanges because of the federal legalization that has to happen in order to get these onto the NASDAQ or the NYSE. So for me, I think this is going to be my vehicle of choice, which is MSOX. If we get some sort of continuation over the next few days, I think it could just be a simple momentum move. But knowing that, hey, these ETFs generally drift lower because, again, of the derivatives in them. So it's going to be kind of a quick little momentum hit over maybe a couple days or a couple weeks.
Well, I can tell you got a thumbs up from Fabian over there on MSOX. There it is. He's giving a thumbs up. We'll give that thumbs up. Hey, sometimes it's just a better trading vehicle, right? So even I learned something today. Like, I'm looking a lot of times as a day trader, okay, like I might lean towards a Tilray or a CGC, like just as the moves, or a sundial if we're going short. But obviously knowing, hey, which ETF is going to give you the best bang for your buck for short-term trade, as you mentioned, right? Like, you do have to worry about the decay on those things. So, like, make sure we understand that those are always, especially your 2X, your 3X bull or 2X, 3X bears. Those are for swing trading. Those are for day trading. You don't want to be long-term invested in it. Michael, before we get some final thoughts from you, I just want to let everybody know that Oracle did now punch through $150 here. So it's finally made the break. It's making a breakout, now up at 152 and continuing to go higher. So it made a dip, which made some sense that it would have dipped into 146, as you can see there. And now you're running higher. It's muscle memory that I keep changing it this way instead of just doing the old dipsy-do and going daily chart to 3-minute chart that way. But there was a dip, and look at this right here. The reason why we zoomed out to that daily chart to show you those highs is, where did we dip into? Numbers came out, ran higher, dipped right into that previous 52-week high. Now, if you're trading aftermarket, good luck to you. It's always dangerous, but that's old resistance turning into support. I mean, Michael, before we get some final thoughts from you, I know we've said this before, the most simplistic thing when you're looking at a chart is going to be an obvious support level, an obvious resistance level that breaks out and turns into that opposite. And it's the first thing that I noticed when I started trading that had any success for me, and I still use it on a daily basis, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my favorite setup. If you said, listen, you can't, I'm going to take everything away from you, and all you can do is watch, I don't know, Bitcoin or the SPY or something all day, but we do have scans for this exact setup in Trade Ideas, both intraday and for swing. It's just that. It psychologically, it makes so much sense. You have people that when something breaks the highs, they were short before those highs, and now they're underwater. So as it comes back in and they get back to even, those sellers turn into buyers, and then you also have people who missed the high break or the resistance break, and they're buyers as well. So I love something that I see happen over and over again, and I can very easily explain with psychology. I can understand that, okay, this is why there's so many buyers in this area. It makes perfect sense to me. Again, it's my favorite play, and I think it's definitely something that if somebody really, really focused on, you could make an entire career out of just that one setup on different time frames.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. It's a simplistic concept, but sometimes simplest ideas can often be the best ones, and mostly because if it's a simple rule, it's easy to follow it, right? And if your trade strategy is too complex for you to be able to explain to somebody, then you don't necessarily have a trade. You might have a gamble. I say this all the time. If you can't explain your trade to someone simplistically, mm-hmm. your reason for getting in, your entry plan, your exit plan, then you're not really necessarily trading. And in the long run, that doesn't usually work out. I've never really seen it work out for anybody in the long term. Thank you for your thoughts there, Michael. I can't say that enough. And just for everyone out there, on Trade Ideas, it's literally, that scanner, it's literally called pull back into prior resistance. At least that's what it's called on mine. There's nothing fancy about it. Literally just says pull back into prior resistance. You open it up and it spits out some names for you. Whether you trade them or not, entirely up to you. Michael, thank you again for all of your thoughts. And like as you said, if nothing sets up, you don't have to take it. Good luck in finding some of those potential trades, even if it happens to be in the Widowmaker, my friend.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Take care, Michael.
Take care.
Always love to have Michael Noss's thoughts in there. And as I said, like Oracle, it wasn't rocket science. So there was a beat for Oracle, strong numbers, and it wasn't just a beat in the top and bottom and then strong growth in their cloud infrastructure, but you did have partnerships with AWS and Google, both announced. There was bad news for HIMS. There was an offering on HIMS. You'd see them move to the downside, actually recovering a little bit, as we say here. But I'd be remiss if I didn't show this because this was pointed out to me. And before we get into roll call, I absolutely I love this. I'm just going to throw it up there. Yeah, and this is shout out to Evan here, Stock Market News on the X Machine. The stock market explained the moment I buy and the moment I sell. And the funny thing about it, and I've said this time and time again, and if you ever find yourself in the situation where it's like, oh man, I get out and that's the absolute bottom. I get in and it's the absolute top. Here's the really, really good news for you. That's obviously frustrating. But what it means is that you're actually making decisions, like the decision to do something with the stock, at precisely the right time. It just might be the wrong decision, but you're looking at the right price area. And so therefore, you've got to hone in on the thing that you're doing right, which is identifying the correct time and moment to be looking at the stock to make a decision. That's one of the most important things that people don't get. So when you're doing that, don't throw out whatever it is, the strategy you're looking for. Just hone in on the decision-making part of it, saying, okay, well, I know the areas that I'm looking at. Let's look at a different plan of action around those price areas. Just change your execution strategy. You're looking at the right price, right? And maybe you should be looking for mean reversions at those prices that are identified to you if you always happen to be buying highs. Like maybe that's the kind of trader you are. I know that's what Obi is a lot of time. But you know what time it is. It's already past 4:30. We got to let Fabian get out of here. We got to drop a little roll call. I always start it off the same way, everybody. That's to say thank you to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business, in all of YouTube. Thank you to all of our viewers. You guys are all amazing. Big shout out to Michael Noss dropping in this morning and again in the evening. So let's get this roll call started. If you want to hear your name shouted out, then you got to throw it in the chat. And if you want to be in the chat, then you got to hit that subscribe button because it's a subs only chat, everybody. You click a button, then you can talk to us and you can talk to our awesome community, and you can get shouted out during roll call, where we have, as I said, Bears versus Bull, who's also loving Michael Noss every single time. Finch, Jane, and the Piper. We got TH. We got Royal Dixon. We got Yannick and Patrice. Ooh, I like Yannick and Patrice. Freddie, the friendly guy 2.0. Freddie, I'm still waiting to see where the 1.0 was. We got the 2.0. We need to have the 1.0 as well. We got the Piper and Finch, and we got Rivian Millionaire. We got Jeremy Newman. We got Trader Buck. We got Farm Trader, who gave a bit of a spin and won. All right, you guys are going to see me spin this live. Spin 1,000. I am the biggest FOMO spinner on Streamlabs ever. All I ever do is see somebody else win on Streamlabs, and then I go in there and think, oh yeah, well somebody else won. I'm going to bet now, and I'm going to lose. So I just lost my 1,000 points. That's what I do. D-Loaf said, don't say my name. Well, that's not going to work, D-Loaf. Now I'm going to say your name twice, and now a third time. D-Loaf in the house. Oh Mundo de Rachel, BD Show, Shanty Meds, we got Hans Beer, TXJ. Oh, no. Okay, fine. TX Jets fan. Go Jets tonight. I can do it. Because you're a viewer, because we love you. As a Buffalo Bills fan, it really hurt to say that, but I'm not going to say it again. Sinful Davy, Swirling Brain, Farmer Education, JKL. We got Mo. We got Travel Buddy. We got Mr. Misunderstood. Midnight in the Ocean. That sounds like a heck of a lot of fun. My Losing Spin, of course. Anurag in the chat. We've got Francisco Guzman, Julian Beckwith. Good luck on your spin. Jeremy Newman, ScarJo Rabbit, Mashworth, Mohammed J. Iqbal in the chat. And then For Profit. Don Quixote de Flamingo in the house as well. Red Eye Jedi, Superman in the chat. Never always say ever. I like that as well. B-Chan 1688, Lionel Martinez. We shout you all out. We appreciate all of you. We have a fantastic trading community here at Trader TV Live. And shout out to our sponsor, Real Trading, as well. You know, the best thing about this when I end the show every single day, just Monday. Guess what we get to do? Tomorrow's a new day. We got Oracle post earnings. They're to the upside. Hims and hers to the downside and a bit of an offering. And you have all the market moves that you saw today for some continuation tomorrow. So volatility is back. Volatility is here. Oh, yeah, there's a debate tomorrow. So maybe DJT moves around. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to let you guys go. But you got to come right back here at 8:30 in the morning for more Trader TV Live. I like that look, Fabian. We should do it more. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. That was wild.